Welcome back into Rounding Third Baseball, episode 318. Buckle up for this one. This one's going to be awesome. Interview with former Milwaukee Brewer Mark Rogers. I'm Nick. We have Harrison, and we'll bring Mark on in a second. But how are you doing tonight, Harrison?
Fantastic, Nick. Looking forward to this. Always fun to talk to somebody who went on the journey we all wish we could have gone on. So looking forward to that. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited for this one. As I have faced Mark a couple times in my career, unsuccessfully, mind you, but we'll get into that later.
There's a lot of people that unsuccessfully face Mark.
Yeah, that is true. So we'll get to him in a second. But first, make sure you follow and like us on Facebook. You can subscribe on YouTube. You can also follow on Instagram, Rumble, and TikTok. You can also listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. We also have our affiliate sponsors, Logitech, MLB Shop, and Lids. You can find these links on the tops of all of our socials and our link tree. So if you do any shopping with these companies, please use our links as we get a nice little kickback with no additional cost to you. Just a great way to support the show. And also have merch. We have search Rounding Third Baseball on Etsy. We have sweatshirts, t-shirts, tumblers, whole bunch of stuff on there. Another great way to support us and to look good in some Rounding Third gear. And finally, on Patreon, it is a community that we are trying to build there that actually supports creators. So check us out on Patreon for some exclusive content. All right, we are going to welcome in our guest, Mark Rogers. How you doing tonight, Mark?
I'm doing great, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for coming on, man. It's a blast. All right, so let's just start right at the beginning where I met you, I guess. We beat Chevrolet in the first round of the playoffs, and we go to Mount Ararat, and we're going against this freshman. We're like, yeah, we should be all right. Little do we know this freshman was throwing 93, 94 at the time and making us look foolish. So I told Mark the story right before it came on, and he throws me a fastball down the middle. I take it. I foul the second one straight back, and I go, I'm in trouble now. I'm down 0-2. And he throws me a breaking ball right at my head. I bail on it and just walk straight back to the dugout, and I get rung up for strike 3. But just kind of talk about your high school career and when you knew that you had something.
Well, my high school career was very fun. I got to play with a lot of guys I grew up with, so I was fortunate in that aspect of the game. I was very comfortable with my teammates, and we were all comfortable playing with each other. So that was the camaraderie was pretty good, which made it easier. And because I played with those kids since I was 18 years old, so it was really comfortable. And then by the time I got to high school, we all developed a little bit and started rooting for each other, and had some kids transfer into the school that were good. Like one of my best friends was Andy Cantrell. He came over from Brunswick, and funny story about Andy, he actually beat me, I think, my sophomore year when he was at Brunswick pitching against me. So he loves to tell that story that's his favorite memory, is beating me in high school. But so sometimes I got hit, but high school was different. It was different than the big leagues or the minor leagues in a lot of ways, because you weren't competing against your teammates to try to get to the next level. So it was really fun, and I missed that until I got back to the big leagues where we were all a team again.
Yeah. So I said it before, but you, Charlie Furbush, Ryan Flaherty, and Ryan Reed were kind of the 4 Mainers that really started to put Maine baseball on the map. Like, hey, there's talent here that just never seem to be recognized, I guess, nationally. And we saw that when the state championship got flexed to Hadlock Field and you guys sold the place out. Kind of relive that memory if you want.
That was a crazy memory. That was a crazy time in Maine baseball. I couldn't believe. I remember the year before we had played Deering in the state final, and we played at Mansfield up in Bangor, and that place being sold out was pretty impressive for us being high school kids. And then we heard that there was so much interest in the game that they wanted to move it to Hadlock. I thought that was really neat as well. And then I was able to pitch because they bumped the game back a couple days, because I think we were supposed to play them in 3 days, so I wasn't eligible to pitch after the Eastern Maine championship game. But where they moved it to Hadlock, I was able to pitch, so it gave us, what we thought was a better chance to win the game. We ultimately ended up losing to Deering, which was, blessed with some good players too. I mean, Flaherty's a great player. Giobbe, like we talked about before, DeAndrea, and obviously Ryan Reed is a great pitcher who got his time in the big leagues and played in the minors for a really long time. So, yeah, there's a bunch of talent in that game, and Maine baseball, I think we're kind of undervalued because the season is so short. I was talking to one of my friends on Facebook the other day, and he was like, "Season in Maine is so short. It's tough to really, get somewhere in baseball, and you just gotta get noticed. I think at the right time, but I wish the season here could be a little bit longer, so some more guys could get the opportunity to be seen because there's a lot of good baseball here."
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my junior year was dreadful because it's a 16 game season. So
Yeah.
if you start 0 for 8, like your season's done. Like average is toast, and you're finished. You don't have a chance to get it back. That's a great point.
Yeah. Did you? So obviously, back in our era, Mark, we didn't have the benefit of all the social media and how easy it was to share video with scouts and all that. Like, how did you get discovered? Like, did you go to the various training events, or did people come to you?
Oh, I was extremely fortunate. I got invited to the East Coast Showcase in Wilmington, North Carolina, actually, and I was good friends with Dale Plummer. He kind of tutored me my whole life on baseball, and he played minor league with the Mets for a long time. Got to AAA, so Dale kind of got in touch with the people he knew as I was working with him, and said, "Hey, this kid needs to be seen by somebody. I think he's pretty special." So he kind of stuck his arm out there for me and stuck his neck out there for me. I mean, and so I got that invite to the East Coast Professional Showcase, and from there I went to the area codes out in California, and that was between my junior and senior year of high school. So it was really for those guys, Steve Springer and Don Mitchell, and Dale Plummer. They really kind of got the ball rolling for me and got some eyes on me and got me out of the state where some scouts would, hopefully notice my talent. And I just knew when I got invited to North Carolina, that was a big opportunity for me, and I needed to make the most of it. So I trained as much as I could, tried to be as prepared as I could. And I remember my first warm-up pitches were like 98, 99, and 100. And they were like, "Oh crap, we didn't even know who this kid was." And now all of a sudden I was on the map that quickly. So it can happen that fast.
That's awesome. I have a lot of personal connection to Dale Plummer too. I did a lot of his winter academies just to keep me playing throughout the winter, and that really did put me ahead, like especially in Southern Maine baseball, because I was one of the few kids that was playing year round at that time. So I mean, I owe a lot of my college success, my baseball career success to Dale too. So pretty cool to hear that he's connected with other players as well.
Oh yeah, Dale's a great person. He's done a lot for baseball in Maine, and I remember those Dale Plummer baseball academies.
Oh yeah,
He did them at high school in Bath, and he'd do them all over the place, and it was great. It did give you a leg up come spring. I felt like I was a little more prepared, and it was also nice to have a little break from hockey. I see so many kids now specific, and they're so sports specific, and they're so tuned in on one sport. I think that might have burned me out a little bit. It was always nice to have, a night off of hockey practice to go play baseball in the middle of winter.
Yeah, amen to that. For you, Mark, where did the velocity come from? When did you start to notice you could bring it at, low 90s, mid 90s, high 90s? Like when did that show up for you?
My freshman year of high school, I think, is when I got into the low 90s, like you guys were talking about earlier on the show. And I noticed that I went to the Atlanta Braves local tryout every year in Augusta, and I remember the Stewarts were the scouts that were involved with the Pittsburgh Pirates, and he's with the Pittsburgh Pirates now. He was with the Braves at the time, and he told me, "You're very special. Don't change." He's like, "Whatever is making this velocity, we'll never really know, but it naturally comes out of you. So don't change." And then I met Alan Jaeger, and I did start doing armbands and the long toss programs, and my velocity kept creeping up a little bit. And then that same junior year of high school, before my senior year of high school, I started doing the armbands in the wintertime and trying to lengthen out how far I was throwing the ball, and my velocity jumped up quite a bit.
That's what I did wrong. I could have gotten to 74.
Hey, you never know, man. As hard as these guys throw nowadays, that might be something different that they wouldn't want to see.
Yeah, it's wild what they're throwing. So let's touch on that real quick since we're kind of talking about velocity. I mean, all these guys are throwing triple digits. Are you I don't know how to phrase this question. Max effort guy, like, are you for that and just get as much as I can get out of my arm at any given time? Or do you think that they should dial it back and learn how to pitch to kind of maybe lengthen their career? Where do you kind of stand on that?
I think that you got to make your best effort to get the guy out every pitch, especially in professional sports. And now with the way the college level is, I think it's the same thing. There's a lot of there's a lot on the line every pitch, so I think you should be giving it 100% every time. And it's hard to see somebody back off of it, just because it's say the sixth inning and you're up by 3 or 4. It's like, and nowadays the home run is as prevalent as the 100-mile-an-hour fastball. So you can get back in the game so quickly. It's like I feel like you got to bring it every pitch.
That's a good point. I guess I've never really thought of it that way, but that's incredible.
Makes sense.
Yeah. All right. So high school is now over. You get drafted in the first round, correct?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, I was drafted in the first round, 5th overall by the Brewers, and they made a very easy decision for me. I was supposed to go to the University of Miami on a scholarship to play baseball, but when the Brewers came in where they did, I was like, oh, this is the opportunity I want to take. And based on where they were at in their farm system and at the major league level, I was like, this would be a great place for me to get to the major leagues and establish myself and hopefully have a long career.
That's awesome. So where's our first stop in the minors then?
The first stop of the minors out of high school was Arizona. It was Maryville, Arizona, where the Brewers spring training facility is.
Okay. And then
Eye-opening.
Was it? So yeah, talk about that experience a little bit.
It was eye-opening. It was all baseball, 100% baseball all the time, which was crazy for me. I was a three-sport athlete in high school, playing soccer, hockey, and baseball. So I was like, wow, this is a lot of baseball. We'd be at the park early, at like noontime for a 7:00 game, and it was 115 degrees in the Phoenix area. And I was like, what did I do to myself? But I quickly got some tutelage on what it meant to be a professional baseball player, not a high school baseball player anymore. And they kind of ran me through the ringer there in Phoenix for a while. And then my first stop in affiliated ball was with the West Virginia Power in A-ball.
Oh, cool.
What's
that? Oh, go ahead, Harrison.
I'll say, what's the response like, Mark, when you walk in on day one? You're the 5th overall pick. You're a kid from Maine who probably half these guys don't even know where that is on a map. What is the reception when you walk in the door and start talking to guys? What do they think about you?
Initially, I was a little concerned that I would be treated differently because of where I was drafted. I thought there might be animosity or something like that, but I was fortunate with the Brewers. They had some guys there rehabbing. Mike Jones was one of them, and who was a former first rounder who had a shoulder operation as well, and a few guys that had been around the big leagues for a little bit that were rehabbing there, and they kind of took me under their wing. And when the other guys saw that it was the whole call me a first rounder or a prima donna and or money, all the money stuff kind of ended at that point when they saw the other guys kind of take me in and take care of me. And I learned very quickly that if you take care of the people around you, that they'll take care of you as well. So that the whole mystique of being a first rounder was awesome, but I also thought that I might be judged for it, and ultimately I wasn't there, which was really cool. And I think that I attribute that to the veteran guys that were there who were rehabbing at the time in Phoenix and kind of showed me the way.
That's awesome. How about like the level of coaching that you get at a major league complex versus what you got in Maine? I mean, it's got to be a little bit different.
Yeah, it was crazy, and I think there's a fine line when it comes to coaching. But as a kid, I was so enamored with the fact that these guys had played the big leagues and their background that I was so willing to listen. I was willing to change maybe too much. You know what I mean? Like I was excited for the opportunity to have the coaching, and it's almost like I dove in too far. Like I wanted to be too perfect. You know what I mean? I wanted to have perfect mechanics. I wanted everything to be perfect, and that wasn't the case. I don't think that's what they were trying to coach me on, was to be perfect. But ultimately, the competitor in me was like, okay, if that's the best way to do it, then that's the way I'm going to try to do it. And I think that kind of hurt me in the end. I was more worried about, the mechanics of throwing instead of, focusing on what was happening at home plate and getting the hitter out.
Yeah. All right. So you're at West Virginia, then you get up to high A rookie in like 2006.
Yeah, in 2006, I was with the Brevard County Manatees in high A ball, and that's where I got hurt and tore my labrum for the first time. And about, I think, July of that year, had a shoulder operation.
Yeah, so kind of walk us through that, like if you had any setbacks and like what the kind of injury did for you in your career.
Well, first thing, I think mentally it was a kind of a kick to the groin, because I thought that, like I was saying earlier, going to Milwaukee, I'd have a good chance to get to the big leagues quickly, with their farm system and pitching staff. I was like, I'll have a good chance to pitch. And I was throwing the ball well in Florida. I finally figured out what they wanted me to do mechanically. I figured out my secondary pitches. I started throwing a slider instead of the curveball, because the mechanical changes kind of took the curveball. Like you said earlier, I used to throw it at the hitter, and it was like more of a sweep or slurve, and they wanted the more down or curve, and so it was different for me. And then so I learned how to throw that slider, and then my shoulder blew up shortly after that, and I don't really know why, but I think it was just I wasn't used to throwing those pitches from that arm slot, and eventually I kind of blew up. But it happens. It could have happened if I never changed my mechanics, the way I look at it. And then so I had the first surgery in Fort Worth, Texas. Dr. Conway did my surgery. He was with the Rangers at the time. He was their team doctor, and it was a pretty extensive surgery. I remember I was supposed to be under for like 3 hours, and I was under for like 6 hours. And I had to have the top of my labrum. It was a bucket handle tear of my labrum, so I had to have 4 stitches put in the bottom of my labrum, and then two permanent stitches put in the top of my labrum to put it back together. And I put down a ton of scar tissue, tried to start throwing again, and it just wasn't the same. I remember I was throwing like 86 and really struggling for it, and it hurt every time. So I was like, guys, this isn't working. So I went in and had a second surgery to clean up the first surgery, and there was a lot of scar tissue, and I guess there wasn't a lot of space for the humeral head in my shoulder to move around with all the inflammation. So they trimmed me up and shaved me down, and about 6 weeks, 8 weeks after that, I started throwing again and felt completely different. And I was like, oh wow, I really have a chance again. Because for a while after that first surgery, I was like, I'm never going to be able to pitch again. This is, without another surgery or a miracle, I'm going to need to find a secondary career real quick. And yeah, and those are the thoughts that were going through my head. And then after that second surgery, about 8 weeks later, I remember I was with our physical therapist, Kenny Patterson, and who was a legend in my opinion. Those guys who can get people back from these surgeries, are these physical therapists we have nowadays, are so educated and so unbelievable with their hands, and what they're able to tell you about the human body and what to do to get it to perform at its best is incredible. So I really tried to focus on what he was telling me, and about 8 weeks after that, I was throwing again, felt really good. And then the next year, 2009, I was able to make a comeback and went back to Brevard to high A. And I had like a 1.6 that year for the year I was on a pitch count. And I remember just being like, oh my gosh, I can actually throw the ball again. I feel like myself again. And baseball is back, because missing it was really tough. I'm watching all my friends that I'd been drafted with, like Giovanni Gallardo became a great friend of mine. He was a second rounder the year I got picked, and he became the ace of the staff very quickly. So I'm watching him go to the big leagues, and I'm talking to him every day, and he's like, you just keep going, man. You keep plugging away. And the next year, I think he tore his ACL in Chicago, but he's like, it's worth it. It's worth the struggle. Any struggle you've been through, getting to here is worth it. And I'm sure. Yeah. So yeah, he became a really good friend of mine, and kind of inspired me to keep plugging along. And then I went to AA, I believe, the next year in Huntsville, Alabama, and got my first call up later that year in 2010.
Yeah, that's it. That's incredible. So we got a question from Chad. What advice would you give guys coming back from injury to be able to return to form?
I think one of them is to be persistent. It gets really monotonous and difficult to do the same things every day, to try to strengthen your arm or your knee, or like you were talking about. I'm sure you come back from your ACL surgery was hell at times. Yep. But I'd say just to stick with it, deal with the monotony of it, and find a good physical therapist that you trust, who can educate you on what's happening, on a day-to-day basis inside your body. Because like I was saying with Kenny Patterson, he was able to hold my arm and mess with it and feel do strength tests and do things like that, and really feel what was happening inside my shoulder. And he was a big advocate for me having the second surgery, which is ultimately why I got to play in the big leagues and have the career I had. And so I'd say find a good therapist who can help you, because there's a lot of it is in your head when you're hurt. I think so much of it is what you're thinking about, and you're anticipating the pain, and it's something that's constantly on your mind. So it can really creep into your head. Pain can really creep into your head. So I think finding a way, maybe a sports psychologist is another good option nowadays, because getting that stuff out of your head, being able to perform without the stress of it, or the PTSD of it, anticipating the pain is just as important as being pain free itself.
Yeah, for me, when I was coming back from my ACL, it wasn't the pain as more as like not fully trusting it, I guess, was more the psychological thing I had to get by.
Oh, I totally believe it. That was 90% of it for me too. After the second surgery, when the pain was gone, it was getting the ball in my hand and not expecting it to hurt. For so long, I'd get to take the ball out of my glove and anticipate starting to go forward with my arm, and my shoulder starting to hurt. So I remember Jim Rooney telling me, "Mark, it's in your head. You got to get it out of your head. Just trust the fact that." So that's easier said than done right now. I'm expecting it to hurt. Well, it looks like it. You're throwing like it. And that was enough to motivate me. He's like, "Yeah, it looks like it, man. You're not even throwing the ball. You're just pushing it down there."
Was there was there a particular pitch, or was there a particular kind of number of pitches that was kind of a roadblock for you, that was the toughest to come back from, to really let go?
I think it was a fastball, honestly, because I put so much effort into my fastball and really relied on it as my number one pitch, that I tried to put a lot of velocity on it, and I threw a lot of sinkers, and a lot of time a two seamer is a little bit slower than a four seamer, but so I really tried to put a lot of effort into my pitching. So the fastball was probably the hardest. The slider seemed to come easily, and the changeup seemed to come back easier as soon as I trusted my fastball. And for a long time, I didn't trust it when I was coming back from the first surgery, and I ended up being erratic, walking people. And when the games where I walk people, I think were the days where, like you were talking about earlier, I didn't trust it. It was a psychological thing where I was anticipating something that wasn't going to happen. It was like those phantom pains that are so hard to get over.
Yeah. All right. So we make the bigs. First major league strikeout. Who is it?
First major league strikeout was against the Marlins in 2010, and I remember actually first major league strikeout was against the Cubs in 2010. I came on and struck out Micah Hoffpower in relief, and my first major league start was against the Marlins. I remember facing Cameron Maben and Chad Tracy. I think Chad Tracy was my first strikeout that game, but Micah Hoffpower was my first one against the Cubs in 2010 in relief. But first to start was Hoffpower.
And you struck out the side, I think, against the Marlins, right?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
I did. I think I hit Maben and walked two others, and then struck out the side. So I had two walks. I hit Bassman and 3 strikeouts in my first start.
Whatever.
Good recovery.
Got through it.
Yeah. So 2011. So we made it in 2010, and then we don't get back up until 2012. So what was kind of going on in between 2010 2012?
Well, this was one of the ones that hurt the most. I had bilateral carpal tunnel surgery. So I go to start the season in 2011. I'm feeling good, and I think I got a chance to make the team. And I'm holding the baseball in my hand, and the seams just don't feel right. And I keep changing how I'm holding it, and I'm like, guys, this doesn't feel right. And I'm talking to the trainers and the pitching coaches, and they're all like, and the ball's coming out of my hand good, and they just progressively got worse and worse. And I went to see a hand specialist, a hand surgeon, in Milwaukee and in Phoenix, Arizona, because it was right during spring training, and they were like, "You have carpal tunnel," and I was like, "How can I have carpal tunnel? I'm 25 years old. There's no way I can have carpal tunnel surgery, right?" And they go, "Well, it's in your left wrist as well. It wasn't just my right hand." So I was like, "Well, get them both done at the same time because I want this over with." So I tried to pitch in AAA the beginning of 2011 with my hands the way they were, and I was like, I can't feel the ball, guys. This is really strange. So I had surgery and immediately could feel again. And in 2012, found my way back to Nashville and then back to the big leagues.
Huh. So it's just like all feeling just went away in your hands at all, like completely.
Yeah, it was like I fell asleep on my hand.
Weird.
It was so weird. It was a carpal tunnel, and it was painful too. Sometimes I'd throw, and I'd get these pains like down my middle finger, index finger, and thumb that were like electricity kind of feelings. I was like, something is wrong. I guess I was hitting the nerve, and they needed some space to move through the carpal tunnels. The tendons needed to be able to move through the carpal tunnels. And Dr. Sheraton went in my hands and fixed me up. And it took me a long time to recover from it, but it wasn't as bad as the shoulder, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So is that a feeling that was like getting worse over time, or you just like woke up one morning and nothing felt right?
I think it got worse over time. I think, and I think people who have carpal tunnel know this. I'd even wear braces at night when I was sleeping, because at night, I guess when your arms get in different positions, it makes the carpal tunnel worse, or when your hands are above your heart. And I sleep with braces on, because anytime you had your hand kinked or in any kind of way, it would be like you slept on it for a very long time. So it was something that progressively got worse, and something that for a long time I couldn't believe. And I was like, there's no way there's something wrong with my hands. I just came back from the shoulder thing. Like, what could I have possibly done to mess my hands up? It doesn't even make sense. But then I had the nerve tests and all that stuff done, and they were like, no, so you've done something in there. So I don't know how it happened, but my grandfather and grandmother both had the surgery, so they thought it might have been a genetic thing. I'm not sure. I was just born with small tunnels going into my hands.
Wow. Big fastball, small tunnels.
Big fastball, small tunnels. Yeah, big hands, small tunnels.
Man. All right, so 2012, you start 7 games. Is there any moment that kind of sticks out to you? Like, what was your welcome to the big leagues moment? I guess I'll ask. It can be 2010 or 2012.
Oh, definitely. I remember one welcome to the big leagues moment in 2012 that jumps out to me. I called up from Nashville, and I had started the year all right. I was kind of up and down at times, and I remember getting my velocity back in Nashville, and I got the call, and I was going to pitch a day game against the Nationals the next day. So I scratched my start in Nashville, and so I'm going on 6 days rest in Milwaukee at a noontime game, and it's nationally televised. So I'm all amped up for it. I'm like, all right, I got called back up. Things are going well, and I fall behind Lombardozzi 3-1 to start the very first hitter of the first inning. I fall behind 3-1. So I groove him a 94-mile-an-hour fastball, and he hit it to the moon in right field. And I'm like, oh, great. Yeah, this is great. Couldn't pop them up or something. So all of a sudden it's 1-0 with a homer, and I haven't got anybody out yet, and I haven't thrown many strikes. So I better, and Bryce Harper's coming up hitting second. I'm like, this ought to be good. So I had to settle in really quickly, and I ended up striking Harper out, and it pops a couple guys up, got out of the inning. But I remember my heart beating out of my chest that first hitter. I was like, telling you earlier, I was watching the girls' championship game today on TV, and it's impressive how well these kids are able to channel their emotions nowadays, because it's easy for them to let your emotions get the best of you.
Yeah, we've been talking about that with like all the young kids around the MLB right now. I mean, it is crazy how they're just coming up, and it doesn't seem like the stage is too big for them, and they're just making immediate impacts. It's wild to us. It's just like week after week, we're seeing somebody new come up and just, go 4 for 5 with 2 homers. And it's like, this, you're not supposed to do that. Like, this is your first MLB game. What the heck?
They look very comfortable, don't they?
Yeah.
It's got to be a tribute to the coaching and the managers there, and the system they have in place, because these guys coming up sure do look good. Like that kid who just came up in Pittsburgh, the #1 prospect overall. He looks comfortable in spring training, and he sure looks comfortable in the big stage.
Yeah, it also helps. He's the 3 of us wide, standing next to each other. The kid's a monster.
Yeah, and when you've got 9 years, $140 million worth of security, you can get comfortable pretty quick too.
I think that provides some comfort, yes.
But along those same lines, Mark, like how as a young kid, from Maine, where you're playing in front of 25 people at a home game, how do you adjust to life in the big leagues when you got there quickly? You didn't spend a lot of time in the minors, and all of a sudden you're on a national stage in front of tens of thousands of people every day.
Well, I didn't adjust quick enough, because Lombardozzi took me deep real quick. So I'm probably the wrong person to ask, but no, I think it all depends on who you are. I think and your upbringing. I was, being from Maine, I'm sure they can tell you we don't get a huge crowds, but my junior and senior year we started to get some crowds, and then in the minor leagues, I didn't play a ton of minor league games, but you kind of get a little bit prepared for it. But I don't know if there's anything that can totally prepare you for the big league game. It's a different level of baseball, and I think you just feel different on that stage. The camera's on you. You know that everybody from your grandmother to the kid down the street is watching you. So it's pretty exciting, and I think that if you get overwhelmed quickly if you don't have the right support system and can get in your head. But man, these kids nowadays sure are doing it right.
Yeah. So what is it like growing up watching these guys on TV, and then all of a sudden you're now facing them, right? It's like as kids growing up watching baseball all the time, falling in love with these guys, these idols that are untouchable. Now all of a sudden you're by yourself on the mound facing the guys you've been watching. What does that feel like?
It's crazy. I was kind of starstruck, to be honest with you. I remember even with guys on my own team. Like I remember when I signed at the University of Miami, Ryan Braun was going to the University of Miami, so I got to know him a little bit on my recruiting trip. And then he gets drafted 2 years after me by the Brewers. So as a first rounder, then he had a great spring training, gets to the big leagues quick. And Giovanni, same idea, got to the big leagues quick. And even though they weren't established big leaguers when I met them, by the time they got to the big leagues, I was already starstruck by them because I was a fan of baseball first, for sure. So, and I just remember that feeling of being in awe, kind of like, wow, you're doing exactly what I want to do. Like you're living my dream right now. So, trying to get as much information from them as possible, and pick their brains, try to get into their routine and figure out how they click and what makes them so great, because man, some of those guys are impressive to watch. I remember my very first year, I got invited over to a big league spring training game, and Pujols was in the lineup, and I was like, I'm looking over there like, I hope he's in the game. I want to face him so bad, just to say I faced him. But it'd be really cool to say I got him out. But he came out of the game before I got to face him. But I remember just him, as I'm in the bullpen watching this spring training game, being like, holy shit, that's really him.
Right, for sure. Yeah.
Like I couldn't believe it. It was so, and then to try to compare myself on that level with him, like, okay, well, I'm here too, and I hope to get to that level someday, and then just watching the way he executed. He looks so. They call him the machine for a reason. I remember just watching his routine to get ready to hit in the on deck circle, at the plate, and in spring training, as you guys know, they accentuate everything a little bit. They're really going through the routine extra hard and really trying to grind in and get on that day-to-day grind. So it was cool to watch and inspiring.
That's awesome.
So Mark, take us through a day in the life. It's a game day for you. You're pitching. What does your routine look like on a day game, or sorry, on a game day?
Okay, yeah, no, on a game day, I would get up and try to get some breakfast in, and nothing early. I'm normally up by like probably 9 or 10 in the morning. So because the night before, you're pitching and you're not doing much. You're hanging out in the dugout. You're watching the game, and normally it's a 7:00 game, so you're not getting home till midnight, 1:00 in the morning after you eat dinner and everything. So by the time you crash in, it's 2, 3:00 in the morning. So you're up. I was up by 10 to get something to eat, and then I'd relax and put on Sports Center, I was a huge Sports Center guy. I'd always watch the highlights from the game the day before.
Yep.
With breakfast, and then a lot of my roommates that I lived with would take off to go to the field, be there at 1:00. So as a starting pitcher, you didn't have to be there till 4 or 5:00. They said they wanted us there at least 2 hours early. So I'd get there about 4:30, 2 or 3 hours early before the game. And so it is nice to have a little time to yourself before the game in an empty house to, reflect or, go through your mental process, because I think that's, like we were talking about, is as big a part of the game as anything. And so have some quiet time before the game, whether I'd read or after, or check up on my friends, text message my buddies, and then get to the field around 4. And I'd start my pregame warm-up stuff. Then I'd go meet with a trainer, get some heat put on my shoulder to get it going in the right direction, and ride the bike while I was heating up. And then I always ran 1 mile before I pitched. It made me feel like I was loose and ready to go. So, and after my first surgery, I knew that it wasn't like I could just pick up the ball and chuck it anymore at 100 miles an hour. I needed to get the body ready, and the more after the hand surgery, and the more stuff that I went through, the harder it was, I think, to get going. So I'd always leave myself plenty of time to after the run to go meet with the trainer again, and he'd stretch me out, and they'd give you, one of those real good massages that you'd probably have to pay. I don't even know what you'd pay for one of those things, but something that wouldn't be justifiable to the wife, I'm sure. And make you feel real good before you went out there and threw your first ball. So before every game, I'd probably take about 2 hours just preparing to throw before I got out there and then started throwing. But as a tribute to these teams now, and all the people they have there to it truly takes a village, I think, to make these teams work. And it starts right there, and I think in the training room, getting those guys out there to play 162 games in 180 days or whatever it is, 175 days is crazy. So I think the training staff, deserves a ton of credit for just getting the guys out on the field every day. For the fans to appreciate them, and for the players to appreciate them, I think is important, because we all go to the games wanting to see, Machado. I was watching the Red Sox game today. We all want to see Machado and Tatis play and Bogarts play every day. So, and that's a tough thing. That's a tough task to do when you're traveling around the country like those guys. So I think the training staff deserves a heck of a lot more credit than they get.
Yeah, absolutely. We got Michael Sarna says, welcome to watching from Nashville. Good to see you, Mark.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's cool. All right. So I always ask this to former players that we have on. Who was there one guy that you saw, you're like, all right, I own this guy. And then is there another guy on the flip side where you're like, oh shit, here we go. Like, no matter what I throw, this guy's going to hit it 400 feet.
It felt when I was in AA, Mike Stanton was in Jacksonville. He was still with the Marlins at the time. And I remember our staff had faced him, and I hadn't had a chance to face him yet. But he was crushing us. And I felt like everything we threw up there, he was hitting. I remember sitting in the stands watching. I remember sitting in the dugout watching. And I was like, this guy just is raking everything. And I pitched against him. And he didn't take me deep, but I didn't have a ton of success. We couldn't get him out either. So I think Stanton at the time was one of the guys that I was like, I really didn't want to face. And then as far as someone that I was like, oh, I felt comfortable facing them. Andrew McCutchen, for some reason, I felt comfortable facing him. I threw a ton of sinkers, and I think he was a guy who liked to get his arms extended.
Yep.
So it was a comfortable at bat for me and an uncomfortable at bat for him. So it was one of those kind of things.
Nice. Yeah. How did Stanton look in the box? I mean, the dude's a beast too. Like, I mean, was he very imposing in the box?
He was a big guy and absolutely shredded. It was like, what do you do to look like that? And he could hit the ball 500 feet. So you're like, yeah. I grew up around lobstermen my whole life, who work out every day pulling lobster traps. So I've seen some pretty impressive physiques, but that guy was on another level.
Yeah, man, that's cool.
Wild.
Yeah, definitely wild.
Yeah. So Mark, so on the other path, is there batters get hit, it happens. Was there ever a guy you plunked that you genuinely felt sorry for? Like, you really didn't mean to go get him, and he's the guy you liked?
Yeah, definitely. Same idea. We were in Jacksonville, Florida, facing Stan's team, and I threw a 97-mile-an-hour two-seamer, and it kind of rode in and up on him, and it got him right in the bottom of the elbow.
Oh. And
I was like, oh my! It hit him on the funny bone, and he just went down like I shot him with a gun. And I felt so terrible. I was like, that's gotta hurt, because he said, "You got me on the funny bone. You got me on the funny bone." I remember the next day they threw at us again, because they thought that it was, I don't know if they thought it was intentional or if just how bad it was. But man, did I feel bad. I felt so bad, because it wasn't intentional, and we were getting thrown at because of it. And this poor kid's elbow blew up to the size. He was a good prospect, and his elbow blew up to the size of a watermelon. I was like, oh geez, here we go. But it happens. It's part of the game.
So that's why he has elbow troubles now, because Mark Rogers hit him with a fastball. Got it.
Mark started it.
Yeah. All right. So you make your starts in the major leagues, and I mean, it must have been such a surreal experience for you just that entire time. Other than Gallardo, was there another guy in the clubhouse that you got really close to, and was it just was the entire team incredible, or how was the camaraderie in the clubhouse?
We were really lucky in Milwaukee. The camaraderie was great. We had good leaders, from Prince Fielder in 2010 when I was there to Ryan Braun. A veteran presence on the pitching staff was Trevor Hoffman in 2010 when I first got there. He can't be overlooked, that's for sure. First ballot Hall of Famer and great person. He was the leader of the clubhouse, and he really made you feel comfortable. You could tell he was a guy who'd been around the game for a long time. He didn't let you disrespect the game in any way, but he really made you feel comfortable, made you feel at home, and had your best interest at heart. So, and then Randy Wolf was another guy who'd been around the big leagues for a long time, who could kind of tell you the ins and outs of it, and again, a guy who didn't throw real hard, but found a way to pitch in the big leagues for a very long time. So there was a lot to be learned from him. And then obviously Trevor at the end of his career was probably throwing mid to high 80s maybe with that really ridiculous changeup. So it was fun to learn from those guys.
Yeah.
What is that? What is that like in the clubhouse, Mark? We've talked about it on the show many times and asked other guys' opinions, but like, how does the discipline and all that happen from the veterans down to the young guys? Like, what is that clubhouse experience like?
I think it's great. I'm a big guy on respecting the game. The game definitely didn't owe me anything, and I got a lot out of it. So I wanted to give back as much as I could. So I wanted to, follow the protocols and be in the good graces of the baseball gods. That's for sure. So yeah, I think every little you get superstitious, I think, and then every little bit matters when you're there. Every little advantage you can get matters. So I just try to do it, the way the veterans taught me how to do it. And I think Trevor was cool because he wouldn't accept it any other way. It was gonna be done the right way, or it wasn't gonna be done at all. And Randy was the same way, and they instilled that in Giovanni Gallardo, and me, and John Axford was another guy who was there at the time who had a really strong career, went over and signed with Oakland, and threw the heck out of the ball. Was a good closer in Milwaukee for a while after Trevor too. So I was fortunate to have a lot of young guys that I played in the minors with in the big leagues that were very, very comfortable with the veterans, and then it allowed me to have a good foundation of a friendship and so of a relationship with the veteran guys through my friends in the minor leagues, and then the rest of it was just pretty seamless.
That's cool. I got a couple of things. Baseball History Dork says, I love this part when I ask you, like, who are you good against? Who were you not good against? You hear names you wouldn't expect. And then John goes, did Randy Wolf give a lot of good insights with an ump for a brother?
Oh, that's a great question. Yeah, his brother wasn't up, and yes, he did give a lot of good insights. He knew. He would warn me before games. We'd have pictures of the umpires up, who was at home, who was at first, at second, and third, and he would tell me straight up, hey, I know you don't know this guy, but catch the ball and get back to the mat and pitch it. He's like, don't give him the hairy eyeball, don't question balls and strikes. You will pay for it. Like, you as a rookie, they will call you out. They're not, and they don't think everybody's here to see you or them. They don't think you're bigger than the game. So, and they may have missed it. So don't try to show up the umpire at all, or you will pay for it. So Randy was really good in that respect, and I think he has a really good relationship with his brother too. What a cool relationship! What a cool story that is. Two brothers. One's an umpire and one's a big league pitcher forever. It's pretty neat. But yeah, wealth of information between the two of those guys.
That's cool.
I remember his
Derek
brother.
Miller. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I remember Randy's brother doing a game for us in spring training because he wasn't allowed to do regular season games because his brother was on the team. But I remember him doing a spring training game with us, and it was kind of like having another player on our team on the field. It just made you feel a little bit more comfortable because he was, just like you and I talking right now, which is pretty cool. I found that to be one of the most rewarding parts of playing in the big leagues and meeting all those people that I was in awe about or starstruck by, was the fact that they were just like you and I. They didn't think they were any better than the rest of us, which was really cool.
Yeah, I think that's been kind of the big eye opener for us doing this show is like, I mean, we've idolized these guys for our whole life, right? Because you guys got to live a dream that we didn't quite get to, right? We didn't get the opportunity you guys did, but like everybody we've had on is willing to share their story and say the same thing you just said. Is just like, we're just guys. We were just really good at something. That's all. And it's really cool to hear.
Yeah, and I just think that so many of us feel fortunate to be put into the situation we're in and lucky. I think the luck has a lot to do with it. I mean, whether somebody gets hurt and you get your opportunity to get there, or somebody's bad luck is your good luck, or whether you just have good luck and can get there on your own. It still comes down to a very small number of people getting to do a really, really, really cool thing. And I don't think anybody really takes it for granted, which is awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome. So we have Derek Miller says, watching from Pelham, New Hampshire, hearing you talk is bringing me back to good old minor league days.
Oh, yeah. I played minor league baseball with Derek for a while. He lived with me in spring training in Phoenix, and we have a really good relationship. He went to University of Vermont, was a left-handed pitcher there, and ended up tearing his minor. But he had a good run in the minor leagues and got into some big league spring training games, but ended up getting hurt and which you see so frequently from these pitchers, or we saw so frequently from those pitchers for a while. This guy's getting hurt, but yeah, great pitcher, and those lefties, man, they get it done.
Fastest way to the majors, it seems, right?
It sure does. If you're a lefty who can throw a fastball and has a breaking pitch, you sure do have a good chance.
Yeah. When my son comes in, it's oh, I'm only putting the ball in his left hand. That's it. Sorry.
Yeah, forced left-handed.
Yep. All right. So we kind of get back into what happens after 2012. So we're hanging on to the minors a little bit, hoping to kind of get back to the majors. Just didn't quite work out. What kind of happened in there? I kind of just run it through there.
Well, I signed with Seattle after 2012, and I got in a car wreck. I got hit by a young kid in spring training, so I missed most of spring training, and then tried to come back with their AAA team to the Tacoma Rainiers during the year, and I just wasn't myself. I wasn't throwing the ball really well, and ended up getting released from Seattle. No one played independent ball in Lancaster, Pennsylvania for the rest of the year. Had a pretty good season there, but I had a fastball and wasn't really throwing much of a breaking pitch at the time. So I needed to get signed again and went to the Texas Rangers workout and ended up getting signed by them, going to spring training with them. And I had an okay spring training. Just I didn't get a lot of opportunity to pitch, and when I did pitch, I wasn't that great. And then went and played for the Long Island Ducks for a little bit, and realized that my family at the time, I have 2 kids, and I was like, well, I don't see another comeback in the future. So I decided to pack it up and want to take care of my kids and try the dad thing.
Yeah, that's incredible, man. But
Yeah, so how old were you when you decided to pack it up, Mark?
29.
Okay.
That's 30. Yeah, I think that off season. So my birthday is in January, so that off season when I was 29 and 30, I decided that was enough for me.
so you came back home to Maine and kind of got into a little bit of coaching there. What are you doing now?
Oh, now, yeah, I love coaching. I do lessons with the little kids. I volunteer at the local high school. And then I lobster fish other than that. And that pretty much fills my day.
Hey, gotta love it. That's the main life, lobstering right there.
Yeah, I'm very fortunate. I'll tell you what, I tell people all the time. I got to play baseball. I got to play a kids game and make money at it. And now I get to go fishing every day. So I'm the most lucky person you'll ever meet.
Yeah, that's pretty dang awesome. But yeah, I want to thank you personally because, like I said before, like you and the other 3 guys, like coming out of Maine, like really started to put Maine on the map for baseball and kind of opened up eyes around the nation, just being like, wait, there is talent in this state. Like, why aren't we exploring it? For someone that would have loved to have gone further than I did, it was really cool to follow you and Charlie and the other 2 guys like through there and really grab a hold of the entire state. And the whole baseball world was kind of following you out of Maine and watching your career. So I just want to thank you for that. It's pretty cool.
Oh, well, thank you, man. I don't deserve any thanks. I think Cooper Flag is kind of experiencing it right now on another level because he's at that superstar level. But it's like when you're from Maine, you have such great support behind you. Because I think a lot of it is because there haven't been a ton of people come from here and get to experience those things. So there was no animosity amongst my friends. There was no weirdness amongst the public. I felt supported and like everybody was behind me my entire career. And I think that Cooper Flag is going to experience the same thing being from a small town in Maine. Is the support from the community is overwhelming. Everybody really has your best interest at heart and really wants to see you succeed. And I think that he being inspirational is something that we're going to see out of him. And I hope it's not just in basketball. I hope it's in baseball and hockey and every sport and soccer, because you can make it from Maine. You don't have to be Cooper Flag to make it, or Mark Rogers or Ryan Flaherty or Ryan Reed. But I think nowadays with, they're going to find you anywhere. And he's just another example of being a superstar who can make it being from Maine. But there's also a lot of other kids who deserve the opportunity as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's always amazing to me how small the baseball community really is. Because I remember we'd roll into tournaments in Connecticut and Rhode Island and even down into Pennsylvania, and and you kind of look around and go, okay, like who's here? Hey, is that Jeffrey Allison kid from Peabody here? Is
Right.
Andy Gale from New Hampshire here? Hey, is that Rogers kid from Maine here? You kind of scan the team lists and rosters to see if like some of the guys you were hoping to run across would be there. And you were a name mark that, although we never played you, never faced you, when we went to tournaments for things like Legion Ball or even travel baseball, it's always kind of a matter of like, hey, there's a team from Maine here. You think that Rogers kid is here? Um, it was a name that everybody kind of in the baseball community was aware of, only because the performance was legend.
Oh, thank you very much. I was extremely fortunate to be able to throw the ball the way I was able to. I play softball now quite a bit, and I can't throw it like I
Love
used
it.
to. So I definitely appreciate the days when I could. So thank you for saying that. I really appreciate it.
Oh yeah, Cody Lawyerson for the Twins
yeah.
is currently from Maine right now, so he's on a roster. So that's
Oh,
cool.
nice. That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
The more Maine guys I see get there, the happier I get. There's
Yeah,
there's a lot of good baseball here. I mean, Ed Flaherty's had a
Yes.
great team down at USM in Division III for a very long time. They compete every year for championships. So
yeah.
there's a reason they're good ball clubs around here.
Well,
Yeah.
and Vanderbilt's created quite the recruiting pipeline into Maine now.
Absolutely, they sure have. Yeah, they sure as heck have. And I think Ryan Flaherty kind of got that started for them, and they've done nothing but have success since then.
Yeah. Yeah. The coach says, like, you'll understand why I have those kids on my team because you don't understand like the type of weather they play baseball in. He's like, I want those tough nosed kids on my team.
It's a tough kid up here.
Yeah, you got to want to play. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Maine baseball's different, man. It's brutal.
Yeah, you might be shoveling snow in the morning so you can play that afternoon, but you get it done.
Yeah, but it's worth it.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Man. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Mark. This was absolutely incredible. Jose Romero says hi to you.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, pretty cool. So thank you so much for joining us and telling us about your story. It was really, really cool to hear it firsthand, and really appreciate your time.
No, I appreciate your time even more. Thank you guys so much. It was nice to relive it and get back into talking some baseball.
Anytime, man. You're welcome. Just send me a
Always.
message. You're always welcome.
No, don't say that. I'll bother you guys too much.
Nope, no such thing. You can't
not
bother us.
possible. You know what, Mark? We dare you to try.
But really appreciate it, man. Take care.
Well, thank you guys very much. I appreciate your time. Have a great
See you,
night.
Mark. Thanks.
All right, see you. Wow. I still, like, after every interview, I'm just like blown away by the graciousness, I think, that all these guys have for the game, the respect they have for the game. Like, it doesn't go unnoticed. It's wild to me.
Well, it is, and I think that's the one cool thing about baseball is that unlike other sports, it's not a sport full of ego. It's not a sport full of that kind of like overinflated sense of self. It's a lot of guys that were grinders, that paid their dues, that got there, understand, what it means to accomplish what they did, but also have the humility to appreciate the fact that they're just like regular dudes that are wicked good at the sport.
Yeah, and to hear the adversity he had to overcome. We've heard it from other guys. We had Robert Gillum on. I was talking to Mark a little bit before the show about Robert and stuff like that. It's just the type of adversity these guys had to face to make their dream come true is a sacrifice not a lot of guys are willing to make, right? And he did it, and he got to the highest level. Maybe not for as long as he wanted, but he still got there. It's really freaking cool.
Yeah, but it also proves, it's incredibly hard to get there. It's also incredibly hard to stay.
Mhm.
And it's, sometimes it's a fluke injury, or like you mentioned, the car accident in spring training that sets you back, and sometimes that's all it takes to kind of push you off the path. But it's amazing to see a Maine kid make it. And I wasn't kidding when I told him about the tournaments. Like we'd go around, and he was one of those names you kind of look at and go, "Hey, is he here?" Because
Yeah.
like we all wanted to face him. I mean, I faced so many guys, kind of, like him that were in those 16 to 18-year-old guys throwing mid to high 90s, that had like a real shot to go somewhere. And it was just so awesome to watch guys like that play because they had the talent, they had they had the drive, the work ethic, the physical gifts that many of us didn't have. And it was just like, as much as it sucked to face guys like that, like it was really amazing to see it. Because we all, at the end of the day, were baseball junkies and just love to see good baseball.
Yeah, I mean, I consider myself in my class. I was in the top 25 players in the state, right? And then when you face a guy like this, you're just like, okay, like
That's
I
cheat code.
am, yeah, I am not at this level. Like, I'm feeling pretty good about myself. Not anymore. Like you can see the talent gap, right? You can see, oh, this kid's got it. And Mark, I saw it at 14 with Mark, like
Yep.
absolutely insane. But
Yeah, there's a difference. I played with a bunch of guys that got drafted. I played with a bunch of guys that made it in the minors, and several guys that made it pro. And like that talent gap becomes pretty obvious at some point, and you can't help but notice it. You just like they're different. They're just different.
Yep. So I mean, just it's really cool, and like I said, like I know he was kind of humble about it, but him, Charlie Furbush, Ryan Flaherty, and Ryan Reed are the four kids. They were the four main kids in the majors at the same time. Like that's unheard of. Like it just
Yes.
didn't happen. You had Billy Swift and Mike Bordick come out of Maine, and then Mike Bordick was just a Maine product, kind of
I
like
say, yeah, he wasn't even a Mainer.
No. So, but I mean, those were like kind of the two that we hung our hats on as Mainers, right? Oh, they're in the bigs. But having these four in the league at the same time was really cool for baseball fans and baseball in Maine, because then you talked about it and Mark confirmed it, that pipeline from Vanderbilt kind of opened up, and kids are starting to get recognition now. So it's really cool for Maine and New England baseball, I would say, or north of Boston, start to get some recognition. Pretty cool.
Yeah. And I definitely think Ryan Flaherty is the guy that really kind of shined a spotlight on the state there, and all the guys that were kind of in his class, like Mark, who were incredibly talented guys that didn't get a lot of attention. I feel like, Ryan had enough success for a long enough time that it kind of put Maine baseball on the map. And, guys like Mark and Ryan Reed and kind of came in behind him. And now you have a whole nother layer of Maine talent coming through there, which it's nice to see, because this is a state that's always had good baseball. Most people don't realize baseball is even played in Maine. They just assume we're under 7 feet of snow all year. And I think it's good to see, Maine's gotten some attention. It continues to get some attention. And you're going to see more kids get opportunities because guys like this, paved the ground.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. So thanks again, Mark. That was absolutely incredible. And honestly, open invitation. So whenever you want to come on and talk ball, you are more than welcome. So
yeah, I double dare you to try to annoy us.
it would take a lot to annoy the two of us, but
sure would.
Pretty dang awesome. All right, let's get into some news and stuff from around the league this week. Let's start with last night. I was watching this game. Joe Adell robs not one, not two, but 3 home runs last night. I think they were even trying to go back in history to see if this has ever happened before. No one can find anything. Michael says, Maine, snow, potatoes, lobsters, and trees.
And moose. A lot of those guys too.
Yep. So Joe Adell robs 3 home runs last night. Never done in Major League history as far as we know so far, because it's not really a track we stat really, but a stat we track. I mean, a track we whatever. You know what I'm trying to say.
A stat we track. Yep, you got it.
Yep. Okay. I have no words for this. I mean, when you're in a zone, man, you're in a zone, I guess.
Dude, did you see the whiteboard in the clubhouse today?
I did.
Today's game plan: don't hit it to Joe Adell. That literally was the game plan for the Mariners. I mean, honestly, like I saw the first one and I was just like, "That's pretty cool." And then I'm like, "Wait, he got a second one?"
That looked exactly the same as the first one.
And then I saw the highlight of the third one. I'm like, okay, like now I know it's actually a different clip. When he tumbled into the seats, but I'm like, oh my God, like what are the chances you'd have 3 opportunities in a game to even go after these things? What are the chances you'd get them all? And holy cow, like this dude is a one-man wrecking crew, and they won a 1-0 game because the guy stole 3 home runs.
Right. And the other crazy part about that game is the run was scored in the first batter of the game
Right.
with Neto. Well, the bottom of the first, I should say. Bottom
Yeah.
of the first inning, leadoff homer, and then nothing else. And he single-handedly saves that game. Adele is the man to beat for AL MVP. Yeah, just in
Right
that
now,
one
yes.
game. Yeah, crazy. Mike Reed, this is a great question. Be curious how many times guys have even done 2 in a game.
I thought I saw earlier that they had found one. I think they found 2 instances in history where guys had robbed 2 home runs in a game. They've never seen one with 3, or at least they could not find anything after pouring through the archives for, since last night. They couldn't find an example.
Yeah, the third one, they were making sure he didn't make contact with the fans over the fence before he caught it, because then I think it would have been ruled a home run. But I mean, heck of a play. And I watched, don't ask me why I watched 2 straight nights of Angels games, but I did because I think it was the last game on for the night.
Most likely.
But he had a very similar play the night before where he slowed up going to the wall and played it off the wall there instead of going for it. And then last night he's just like, the hell with it. I'm just going for it. Actually I had to slow down a little bit to time the jump, but man, when you're in a defensive zone, that's what it looks like.
Yeah, I mean, and in a 1-0 game, you could tell like that third one, he was catching that come hell or high water. There was no way he was letting that thing touch down.
No, I'm just absolutely incredible to see. And we say it all the time, like there is something new we see at a baseball game every single time we watch one. And this was absolutely insane. I mean, even Torrey Hunter is in the Angels dugout and he was speechless.
Yep.
He had no idea what was going on, but
they were all just absolutely dumbstruck by it.
yeah,
and even the Mariners, like after the third one, the whole dugout's just like, what do we have to do?
Yeah. Did you see JP Crawford was standing in the baseline for a solid 2.5 minutes, just staring at Joe Adele? Like what?
He just stood there staring like, I can't even believe what I just saw. You had Cal Raleigh going back to the dugout, literally talking to himself. I mean, the Mariners were like completely distraught at these catches because they have been struggling to get anything going, and this dude just steals 3 from them like it's no big deal.
Wild, man. It was cool to watch, and watching it live I was like, you have got to be kidding me that this is happening right now.
He might win a Gold Glove this year just for that game. Like that might be enough to get you a Gold Glove.
Yeah, he's got my vote.
Yeah. How do you vote against the guy that robbed 3 home runs in a game?
I don't know. And that's not going to be the last one. That wall in right field plays, he can play that, right? So I mean,
oh yeah,
you saw how well
just like Fenway, a good right fielder can just steal baseballs in that corner.
Yeah, absolutely insane game. Wild. All right, Patrick Corbin, 1 year, $1 million contract to the Blue Jays. I mean, not flashy, but if anything, it adds depth to an already deep staff. What do you think about this move?
I mean, the Blue Jays have depth. I was kind of surprised to see them go get more depth, but I do think the fact he's left-handed, they don't have a lot of left-handed depth. So I think if anything, he gives them some variety. But I mean, if Patrick Corbin is making starts to them this year, something went really bad. I mean, nothing against Patrick Corbin. He was solid for the Rangers last year when they badly needed an arm just to get out there and pitch. But if Patrick Corbin is making multiple starts for you this year, something went way off the tracks.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, at this point, it's just kind of like an embarrassment of riches, right? This is a security blanket. Like you said, and exactly, John, this is exactly what I was going to say. Sure, why not? Right? Because
yeah, I mean, why not? It doesn't. I mean, $1 million. If you need him, he's there. You hope you don't need him. Yeah, it's like buying car insurance. You know, you got to have it, and you just hope you never need it.
Yeah, I agree. All right. White Sox are to retire number 13, Ozzie Guillen, and in my eyes, rightfully so. This was really cool how the White Sox did it. I don't know if you saw how they did it, Harrison.
I
But
did not.
So he was on the broadcast and they're talking about the game, pregame or whatever, and they stop the broadcast and bring him a box. And the owner or whoever at the table is interviewing, and it just goes, and on August something, we're going to retire number 13, and Guillen just starts bawling. It was a really, really cool moment, but what this guy's brought to the Chicago White Sox organization, I think absolutely deserves to get his number retired.
Yeah, I mean, I loved Ozzie Guillen as a player. I love him as a manager. I know that he was a little bit polarizing as a manager. Some people didn't love his style. I just remember him and David Ortiz going back and forth, like he's pretending like David Ortiz is in a wheelchair. They're laughing back and forth across the field after Ortiz dropped the bunt down the third base line and beat it out. But I know Ozzie's had a complicated relationship with Chicago as a player and as a manager. It was a weird dynamic. It was a weird exit. I didn't think he had a great relationship with the organization anymore, so it's nice to see that he does. A lot of respect for Ozzie. I don't understand retiring his number necessarily. Like, I loved Ozzie, but like he's not the kind of guy who I would think you'd retire the number of. I mean, he was a 20 WAR player in Chicago over it 13 years. He was a good player.
It's the picture on the left also
I mean,
helps.
yes, I mean hoisting the trophy as the manager, I'm sure doesn't hurt, but I find the retiring number surprising. I love what he did in Chicago. He's had a complicated relationship with them, but I'm glad to see it all worked out.
Yeah. John says this is what it was. When they first said the date and the honor, Ozzie thought it was bobblehead night, which would have been cool too. But yeah, I mean, pretty awesome. I watching the White Sox growing up, like Ozzie Guillen was always there. He was always the shortstop for the White Sox. And then for him to win the World Series in 05 with that ridiculous team.
Yeah.
I say rightfully so. I think this definitely deserves a number retirement in Chicago. Like you said, kind of a complicated relationship, but hey, what relationship isn't complicated nowadays?
True.
So
it's all complicated.
Yeah, Curtis, it was a really great moment watching him find out. Yeah, it was pretty cool. So yeah, I like it, but
yeah, I don't have any issue with it. I find it a little bit surprising, but a guy that certainly meant a lot to that organization multiple times.
And still does. I mean, if he's broadcasting for him, he's still a huge part of who they are. So that's awesome.
But a dude that was one of the more colorful players you'll come across for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I forgot about the whole wheelchair thing. That was
so funny.
So funny. All right, Daniel Susac for the Giants reaches base 4 times in his debut. Oh, hey, surprise! Another rookie. Woo!
Yeah, amazing.
In his
Who saw that coming?
I thought this part was really cool, and you had to catch it. So I was watching this game, and I didn't catch it at first until I saw another reel come up later. The umpire handed him the lineup cards after the final out because he was a catcher. So after the final out, the ump goes, "Hey, buddy," and hands him the lineup cards to his historic debut for the Giants. That's pretty cool. It's fun. I think it's cool because it's finally seeing an umpire like not being bigger than the game. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, it was an umpire that actually took the time to realize like this was a big moment. They were aware of what was happening in the game, and aware of it for somebody else in a positive way versus somebody who was like trying to challenge them or something. So, I mean, an incredibly classy move to hand in the lineup cards after the final out. Clearly an umpire that had presence of mind to know what was going on and why this was a big deal. So can certainly appreciate that. And I mean, my goodness, getting on base 4 times in your debut, that is no easy feat.
No, but again, these young kids are just blowing us out of the water. Rookie of the year, I have no idea at this point. No clue. No clue.
I know what seemed like it'd be super simple has become incredibly complicated fast.
Yeah. But yeah, heads up by the ump being aware of the moment, which it's terrible for me to say, but it's rare. right? I mean, really
Yes.
cool for the ump to just be like, "Yep, I got it. I'm aware of the moment," just like you said, Mike. But really cool moment, and just another rookie, man. Just I don't get it. They just keep coming. Sooner or
Yep.
later, we're just going to have a league full of 22-year-olds or
Well, that's the thing
younger.
is, where do they keep finding these kids? And they just keep playing, like they keep showing up and performing.
Yeah. I
Wild.
mean, and this is why we've talked about like why these players want 10-year extensions. It's
Yeah.
not even greed at this point. It is, I want job security. I know these
Yeah.
young kids are coming up for me. I mean, look what the Mariners just did. They extended Emerson, and JP Crawford's sitting there like, well, I know that he's saying all the right things. I'll give him credit, but like you're essentially signing my replacement right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Kids not in the major leagues yet, but you signed into a big deal that you wouldn't give me. And here I am playing.
So like I don't blame these guys anymore for wanting 10-year extensions. Like
No.
I still want to play in 10 years. I don't want to be pushed out by a 19-year-old Connor Griffin that comes up and hits a double and an RBI double in his first at bat.
Yep.
Right? John says they're probably going to move JP to third base. I mean, maybe when he's ready.
Sure.
We haven't seen a debut like this since John Montgomery Ward with the 1883 Gothams. I will take your word for it, Michael.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah. But yeah, Connor Griffin getting an RBI double in his first AB. I mean, it's crazy. John says,
and if with a good at bat too, then he hangs in there and takes a tough breaking pitch to left center.
yeah. John, this is a good point. This is another thing we've talked about before.
Yeah.
Like the rookies have it easy early, wait till the league adjusts. How the rookies battle, that is what makes them great. Exactly. Yep. We're kind of seeing it with Nick Kurtz right now, and that whole entire Oakland A's. They put up some runs today, thanks to Brent Rooker's 2 home run day, but we're seeing that lineup definitely struggle a little bit because of I don't even know if it's sophomore slump or just pitchers adjusting and teams adjusting to how to get them out. And they now need to go back to the drawing board and make those adjustments. So Mark Kotze has his work cut out for him to figure out where to find these bats again. Other than Langoliers, you haven't had consistent output in your lineup. Rooker's coming around, but the rest of them are struggling a little bit.
Yeah, and they're all down, which is strange. You got half that lineup all down at the same time, which is not something you'd expect.
Yeah. They'll bounce back. They'll make an adjustment, but you can definitely see like the league has caught up to them. Yep. Right. So
yeah, it's going to be much harder this year than it was last year for these guys to be productive. They'll, these are good enough hitters. They will adjust and be fine. It's just going to take them a little bit of time.
Yep. I agree. All right. Another Diamondbacks injury. Surprise, surprise here. Jordan Lawler, broken wrist, out 6 to 9 weeks. Ouch. So the guy that was replacing Lourdes Gurriel with his torn ACL is out 6 to 9 weeks. Jordan Lawler was finally getting some consistent at-bats for the Diamondbacks, and now we're out. So tough, pardon the pun, tough break for the Diamondbacks, but because it was hit by a pitch, so it kind of out of his control. But just another hurdle for the Diamondbacks to try to get by, and we'll see what happens. I think they took 2 out of 3 from the Braves. Again, couldn't watch. I was blacked out. But I think the Diamondbacks are going to be okay. They have enough talent, enough thump at the beginning of the lineup. But this one stinks for a kid that's very talented, finally getting consistent at-bats, and then just gets thrown on the IL immediately, pretty much.
Well, and it's hard because like it's a hit by pitch. I couldn't remember if he was a hit by pitch or if he was diving and rolled it, but it's such a tough break. Pardon using that again, but for a kid who's getting some playing time and then gets hit by the pitch. I mean, we saw it. Trout left the game today, I believe, after getting hit by the pitch in the back of the hand. We watched Jeff Bagwell get his career almost got derailed by pitches off the back of the hand. It is it literally could just be those little freak incidents that can completely change the path of your career. And this kid had a prime window to play and not look over his shoulder for a little while, and to lose it like this stinks.
Yeah, I agree. Now it's like I'm at the point where, like, I know when they walk, it takes them a minute to get their elbow guard off, their hand guard off, their shin guard off, their shoulder guard off. Like, at this point, like, I don't blame these guys
No.
at all for going up in full armor on the left side or the right side if you're a lefty. Like,
Yep.
I would give me all the protection. Give me full on like Christmas Story protection. And I'll go up there. Like,
Yeah, where's my suit of armor? Let's do it.
yeah, man. I mean, my luck would probably still hit like a hinge where I have nothing covered and whatever.
Yeah.
But still, like, I don't blame them. Like, back of the hands, like elbows, like, no thanks. Give me that elbow guard, give me that shin guard, and give me that back of the hand guard, and give me that cheekbone, dude. I'm not taking a pitch off the face.
No.
No,
Oh my goodness,
thanks.
no. No,
Watching, yeah.
with these guys throwing as hard as they do now, I mean, I don't blame these guys for having the armor on that they do, because there are so many places you can get hit now where at that velocity it can be a clean break.
Yeah. Buxton
Dressed up like a cyborg, Curtis.
Yeah, Buxton took one Friday, left the game, sat out Saturday, and DH today. So he was back. So I do have an injury slide, and Buxton, surprise, surprise, was on it. So Mookie Betts left, the lower back pain. Juan Soto strained right calf. Justin Verlander left hip inflammation. I mean, he's old enough; he might just need a hip replacement.
I was going to say, when you see hips of an old guy, you just kind of go, "Yep, makes sense."
Yeah, it makes sense. Alejandro Kirk, this one's a big one for the Blue Jays. Left thumb fracture, and is seeing a hand specialist to see if it needs a pin. Brutal.
That's not good.
And then Byron Buxton hit by a pitch. He was day to day. So John says he's back, but any ones that kind of stand out here for you, Harrison?
I mean, two of them kind of jumped out at me. One being Mookie Betts. I've said it for the last kind of season and a half. I feel like we're beginning to see a fade of Mookie Betts. I think you've seen the skills diminish. I think you're also seeing the physical gifts begin to fade a little bit. I think this is more of that. Lower back is always a tough one. That's because you're talking about twisting movement, bending movement. That one makes me nervous for long-term, kind of long-term being the rest of the season. And then Juan Soto. Juan Soto has generally been a guy who doesn't miss much time. Strained right calf it's one of those where, like, sometimes the strains are worse than a sprain or a break because they can just linger. Right calf's kind of important for him. I don't know what that does to his ability to stay on the field, but these are the kind of injuries that can begin to gnaw at a season.
Yeah. Can Mookie still bowl?
Yeah, of course he can.
Probably. Yeah.
300 games.
Michael says, I still have my original hip. Curtis wants give me half an Iron Man suit. Yep, absolutely.
I love it.
That'd be so cool. Yeah, lower back is no joke. Range at short will be greatly limited, and that's a great point, Chad. Right? Not even just at the plate. We're talking defense too. I mean, the dude's still a freak of nature, but how much does that limit him in the field? I don't know. Will be interesting.
Yeah. And I mean, he turns 34 when the season ends. Like, he's kind of at the tail end of his prime, beginning to head into the, kind of the back nine. He's shown some signs of slowing down statistically. He's shown some nagging injury type stuff that's popped up. Like, I feel like we've seen the best of Mookie Betts. And now it's kind of the slow decline to the end, but low back can be a nightmare.
Yeah, Scott. I mean, yes, you're right. We've seen plenty of strained calves turn into torn Achilles, and I hope, for all the negative stuff I've said about Juan Soto in the past, like, I really hope that's not the case, because baseball is better with Juan Soto in the game, right? I mean, the dude's an elite hitter. It's crazy, and that would be a real tough blow for the Mets to lose his production. But yeah, it seems like more of a problem in other sports. Yeah, basketball is the one that sticks out to me. And then the artificial turf being in football, you see that a lot too. But
brutal.
Yeah, I hope it heals and he's fine. But we'll see. But yeah, right, Chad. Mookie can't DH because of Ohtani, possibly moved during the off season. You think the Dodgers move on from Mookie Betts?
They might, or they might move on from Teoscar Hernandez, but Mookie back in the outfield. I think at some point you have to put Mookie back in the outfield. You've got to stop playing the shortstop thing, and he's 34, low back stuff. You're beginning to see a fade. I think you're best to extend his career and let Teoscar go and slide Mookie back out there. Mookie's a much more productive bat still.
More consistent, anyways, I would say.
Yep.
Yeah. That's fair. I think I'm with you on that. I don't think they would move Mookie. I think just his presence as a Dodger would be hard to move on from.
I mean, Mookie was a significantly better player with the Red Sox, but he is an incredibly impactful player for the Dodgers in terms of just his presence.
Right.
Statistically, he's not nearly the same guy he was in Boston, but I would say that his kind of persona and his leadership are probably more valuable to that team.
Yeah, 1,000%. What about the Kirk injury? Let's touch on that one real quick. I mean, that's kind of a big deal for a guy that knows that pitching staff. Does another catcher that, hey, let's just bring in another rookie, for crying out loud, throw him behind the plate, see how he does. But what are we thinking about a thumb injury to Kirk? Because that's going to affect the bat. That's going to affect his glove, obviously. Like, we're probably going to miss a significant amount of time if he needs surgery.
Yeah, I mean, I do know that there's a lot of respect on the roster for both Heineman and Valenzuela. Obviously, Heineman's significantly more experienced than Valenzuela, but two guys that do know the pitching staff. They can handle the pitching staff. They're not at the same level of Kirk, no. A left thumb is a tough one for Kirk. As a catcher, you need that thumb to squeeze the glove. You need that, and that thumb takes a pounding during the game. It's also where all the weird foul tips seem to hit. They always seem to come down off that fat part of the glove. So it's a tough one to rehab and come back from, and it's a tough one to not have issues with again. And on the hitting side, yeah, you need that. You've got to be able to squeeze the bat. So I mean that one could be. This is one of those injuries that he may get a clean bill of health in a month, but he won't feel right all year.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. We'll see how much impact that brings to the Blue Jays, but still early.
Yeah, I think he's a huge loss with what he brings, but I will say they have guys that they're confident in, and the pitching staff is confident in. So I don't know that it feels as bad as it could, but I still think it's a loss.
Yeah, agree. All right. We got some out of left field discussion topics. Harrison put these together. So what do you got for us this evening?
All right. Well, I got a mix of kind of some news type topics and then just like some fun like debate style topics because, why not? Just
all right,
mixing it up.
All right.
So my first question, Nick, is earlier this season, all the official weights and measurements come out. And there were about 225 major leaguers that got shorter from 2025 to 2026. Some of them by as many as 2 inches. And so for most people, they're kind of like, well, why would MLB players be getting shorter? And I think we all know why. With the introduction of ABS, they build a strike zone off your height. So if you're not 6'2" anymore and you're 6 feet, you got a shorter strike zone. So why are MLB players suddenly getting shorter? And is this right?
Well, it's funny because my wife sent me the reel on this and she goes, "What is going on?" And I'm like, I don't really know. I was like, my take was, when I was in high school and they wanted my height and weight for the program for football, I was like, oh yeah, I'm 6'3", 245. When in fact, I was, 6'1", 240, right? I always wanted to make myself look bigger and tougher, right? I think it was kind of the same thing for their programs. Like, Aaron Judge, how tall are you? I'm 6'7". Okay, cool. We'll put that in the program. Where this is probably, they actually officially measured each player's height to get the strike zone. That would be my guess, was these numbers were padded. Like, because it's just like, Harrison, how tall are you? 6'2", 6'2"? All right. So 6'2" is in the program. Like they didn't tell the truth about their height. Now that they actually have to get measured for the ABS, that's why they're shorter. That's my guess. And John, that's also true. Most men don't know what 6 inches is, let alone 6'4". Anyways,
I mean, you're not wrong. But so some good examples, some good examples in the offseason. Vladdy Guerrero got shorter by 2 inches. Bryce Harper got shorter by 2 inches. Alex Bregman lost an inch on a guy who's already pretty short. Connor Wong lost 2 inches. Like you had a lot of players that all of a sudden dropped by a couple of inches. And MLB does that. There is a new strict measurement protocol done between 10 a.m. and noon. No shoes, no hats. It's done like it's done on some kind of like a flat plate they have to stand on. So like even the way they measure height has changed.
or a
It is now
saucer if you're Altuve.
or a saucer. Yeah, maybe it's a saucer if you're Altuve. You got to stand on the milk crate just so they can get you within the range. But like MLB's even instituted like a different protocol to measure these guys. They get measured at only a certain time using certain equipment. So there's a belief that part of this was like, to your point, guys were always like, yeah, I'm 6'4", throw it in there. Come to find out they're like 6'2" and a half,
Right.
6'2" and a quarter. And they're like, you guys are full of crap. Like you've been padding your stats for years here.
Yeah.
I do think there's some level of that. There's also some level of guys going, well, I don't want to be 6'4" anymore. I want to like get me a real measurement. I want to be the real height because this is a big deal. Wow, Curtis.
I can't. I feel like I'm 12 years old.
Oh,
I got to
man.
put this one on, but I'm not going to say it. That's great, Curtis. But
Wow.
yeah. I think that's exactly what it is. It's like they're unofficially measured before, they're officially measured now. I think is why they're shorter. That would be my guess, anyways.
Yep. Yeah, it was a really funny article to read because like in the past, like who cares if you were 6'2", 6'4", 6'7", like it's baseball. Baseball is not a sport where like being really big or really tall is necessarily an advantage. It's like the NBA where being 7 foot tall versus being 6'9" is like a huge difference. It was one of those where it was a funny topic to be talking about. It's when you have 200 plus players, like coming up on a third of the league, all of a sudden shrinks. It makes you kind of go, wait a second, like what is happening here?
Yeah. John says Kevin Garnett always said he was 6'11" when in fact he was 7'1", but never wanted to be expected to play center.
Yep.
That's funny. Yeah, it's kind of the same type of thing, but yeah, like you said, baseball height doesn't matter. So they were just like, yeah, I'm 6'2". Well, no, dude, you're 6 foot even. But
yeah,
I mean that's why. But
yeah, so across the league average went down almost an entire inch based on all these players who suddenly shrank.
that's funny.
But yeah, so it just I was reading the article. I'm like, we have to bring this up because it's kind of funny. I will say, I know that ABS obviously the height of the zone has a lot to do with how tall you are and where things fall, but so many of these with all these different batting stances, I feel like height is becoming less of a metric around your actual strike zone because even a guy like Judge has got like a decent amount of lean, so he doesn't bat like he's as tall as he is. You've also got some short guys that stand like straight upright that have bigger zones than guys that are bigger than them. It really is funny when you look at the actual zones they give each player because some of these guys that are really big don't have zones that look like they're a guy that's really big because of how they stand.
Yeah, but aren't the zones are supposed to be set up like if you were standing up straight, right? Like
The zones are supposed to be set up if you're in an athletic stance. So it's like if you're in a regular batting stance, but if you're more hunched or whatever, that doesn't necessarily get taken into account for ABS. It does when they're calling balls and strikes, but it doesn't necessarily get taken into account for ABS.
Gotcha.
So it's kind of like a standard balanced athletic stance.
Gotcha.
So you could argue that there are guys for ABS that are actually seeing a different strike zone than when they're actually hitting. Depending on how they stand.
Yeah. Interesting.
Chad, ABS has absolutely nothing to do with this at all. Wink, wink.
Yeah. Yeah. No way.
Man.
All right. Next one.
All right. So we've already talked about the fact that Major League Baseball has established a war chest of $75 million per team, which works out to be a little over $2.25 billion in the bank. Well, MLBPA announced yesterday or 2 days ago that they've established a $415 million war chest for their players that will be available to them should a work stoppage happen. My question is, these guys are fundraising like crazy. Should we at least talk first? Like at some point, should we sit down and talk about where we stand on these issues before we just start stashing money to show the other side that we don't care if work gets stopped?
I don't think they care. I don't think they care at all. Our Facebook feed died. It might come back. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah.
At this point,
yeah, it's all died.
at this point, I don't know. Yes, they should talk first, but they're not gonna. They're gonna ride this all the way to December 1st or 9th or whatever the date is, and that's that. I hate it, but they're just gonna sit there and raise money for the rest of the year until it's officially over. They're gonna hold all their cards to the chest.
Yeah,
It's dumb.
it's disappointing because they did this last time too. Like they waited until like 2 weeks after the work stoppage started to even have like their first formal sit down conversation. And here we are, we're in April, and these two sides keep touting how much money they're stockpiling for work stoppage, and yet they haven't talked collectively as a group in like 6 months. There's no attempt to get a conversation started before the expiration of the existing CBA. You've got 8 months. You're 8 months away from this thing expiring, and you're not even planning to have a sit down conversation. You're just going to go raise money to be prepared for work stoppage, but you're not actually going to have a conversation before then. I will never understand why they do it this way.
I don't either. And yeah, Curtis, you're right. Just preparing for the inevitable. But and yes, no matter what, no matter if they were talking now or in a couple of weeks or whatever, like we weren't going to reach an agreement by December. But they should still be talking. That avenue should be open. It shouldn't just be like closed for the season on both of their doors.
Right.
Like that's ridiculous. No need for it at all. If
No,
you know you're that far apart, why not start talking now?
Yeah, at a minimum, it would be good to at least say, okay, Players Association, where do you stand? What's your list of things you have to have in this? Okay, owners, what is your stance? Here's our list. Okay, do we have anything in common? Yes or no? If it's a yes, we could talk about those now. If it's a no, okay, now we know we're different. But at least like now we know what we're working with. What we know now is the salary cap is potentially the biggest issue, but we don't know where either side stands on it exactly. We don't know to what level there might be any sort of common ground or alternate scenarios that they might propose. We just know that not everybody thinks the same way, and we're prepared to just roll with that rather than have a sit down to say, okay, like let's really get into what are the items on the list so we at least know what the hell we're dealing with.
Yeah, I don't know because they don't know. I mean, let's just call it how it is. It's just I don't know. I don't get it. Carl, you're right. It's still in both sides' best interest to get a deal done ASAP. To not even start the conversation now is asinine. 1,000% agree. I don't get it. I really don't.
It doesn't make any sense. You have 8 months until it expires. This is the time you should be talking to at least understand like where the hell are we? Like how far off are we? Maybe we're not that far off, or maybe we are. But
I was gonna say
you guys are out there raising money like it's the only thing you got going on when you haven't even had a conversation to be like, okay, like how far apart are we? I mean, this is like you're going through divorce, but rather than sit down and actually talk about how you're going to split things up, you're just like, I'm just going to go stash as much stuff as I can and hope they don't know. It's like, what the hell are we doing?
fair enough. I mean, that's exactly what they're doing. To not even start the conversation is wild to me. We know that they're far apart. Let's be honest. The players have been open. They are saying no salary cap. The Dodgers even got on the salary cap train for the owners. So we are miles apart. Heck, we're marathons apart. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
Not just miles at this point. Like to not talk is stupid. This is done. It's a pissing contest done in broad daylight. 1,000% is what this is.
it is. And you got,
Crazy.
millionaires arguing with billionaires, and yet nobody can actually just like sit down at the table and have a conversation and decide like, okay, like how bad is it? Because I think that's what everybody's waiting for is like we know they're far apart, but it's like, is it just that one issue? Is it just a salary cap? Are we good on everything else? Like, can we get like the rest of the stuff like checked off and taken care of? So like we can just focus on this last item. Are we even gonna like have a conversation to like gauge it? Are we gonna offer up different proposals on how we could solve it in other ways? Like this is the time for these people to be sitting down and getting creative. Okay, you hate
Yeah.
a salary cap. We want one. What else could we do? What could plan B or C look like? You
Right.
know, bring the options to the table. Let people think about it. Let people, kind of noodle on these things and come back with different proposals.
Yep.
But instead, we're just going to not talk. We're going to hold our breaths and then wait until this thing expires and be like, oh, look at that work stoppage. Oh no.
Yeah.
Like it's some big leverage play to the other side. When you can see it's not a leverage play, they're just stockpiling money.
Yeah. And the one thing that's missing in the middle of this that is not being taken into effect is the effect on the game and the effect on the fans. Like, what are you doing right now? You're pushing fans away that won't come and see your product because you guys aren't even talking. And then in turn, the game suffers because of that. Because you guys just can't sit down and compromise and work out something. Heck, you can't even say hi to each other at this point. I don't get it. I really don't.
I mean, what it shows me more than anything is it shows me that both sides are dug in. They're not going to listen to alternates, and they don't really care how the fans feel.
No.
Um, and I think the player side has made that pretty clear from the beginning that they don't really care how the fans feel because they want to do what's right for them and protect themselves. I mean, we heard that loud and clear from Bryce Harper and others that this is about what they want, and they're willing to take the game down if they have to. Um, I and I think the owners are kind of looking at it as they're not going to talk to us anyway, so what's the point? So everybody's just kind of sitting there, and the group that gets ignored, to your point, is the fans. Nobody's looking out for what the fans care about because at the end of the day, baseball is a business, and both sides want their piece.
Which I can totally get and I can respect. But if you don't have fans, you don't have money coming in.
Yeah, there's
It's
no
simple
piece
as
to
that.
have.
Right.
You guys
Right.
can split up zero all day long. It won't matter how you split it up.
Wild, man. The fact that they're not talking is crazy. Absolutely crazy. Yeah, and Carl, another great point.
Yep.
The 94 strike turned some people away forever. The 98 home run race brought back a lot of lost fans, but the damage done was permanent. And we don't have PEDs to fix this one. And 1,000%, you nailed it. We've talked about that before, right? After every strike, there was something that brought the fans back.
Yep.
There's nothing that's going to bring the fans back. And unfortunately, there is a league, or fortunately, whichever way you want to look at it. Banana Ball League is going to take off if there is no MLB. And I know the diehard baseball fans aren't going to go anyway. I'm not talking about us. And
No.
we're always going to be there. But they're going to go. Their kids are going to go to Banana Ball League because it's baseball. It's fun. We've talked about it. Like, that's my worry. If Jesse kicks that league into another mode, which God mode, I'm going to say, which sounds like he's got plans for, it could be the perfect storm for MLB. If there's no baseball, Banana Ball could completely take over the younger generation. Like I said, our generation and older, we're going to be back when baseball gets back.
Yep.
That's just how it is. But where do the casual fans go? They go to the product that's actually out on the field.
Right. When they want to watch baseball in June, July, August, they're going to go where it is. And that's baseball's absolutely cranking right now. And this is a terrible time to be in this spot, but it just goes to show that at the end of the day, like, neither side really cares about the fan. They care about themselves and their interests, and the fans are just a means to that end. But we're we're plug and play. If we don't come back, others will. It's fine. They're not worried about it.
Yeah. Yeah, Curtis, the fans are a lost commodity in a custody battle for power.
Yep.
1,000%. It's just sad. I mean, like, I get money rules everything, right? Money always talks, all the cliches, all that stuff, but there really is no excuse for them to at least put some feelers out. This is wild.
Yeah, just ask the question. Like, where are you guys? Where do you stand? Like, can we at least like document what both sides want just as a starting point?
Yeah. 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 Mom and dad are fighting, and us, the kids, are the ones who suffer. 1,000%.
Yep.
Is Banana Ball affordable for the spectator? Yes, sir. Very affordable.
Yeah, your original tickets are what, $35 each, and they include food.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Or watching KBO like the 2020 COVID year. Yep. Exactly. So
college baseball is going to get all kinds of eyes on it. I mean, we'll be watching whenever we can, and there will be fans if this is a prolonged stoppage where you're not talking like the 1 month delay. If this is a prolonged stoppage where you miss 2, 3, 4 months of a season or an entire season, it will be devastating to MLB when it does come back.
yeah,
Because there will be a lot of fans that will not come back anytime soon.
No, they're just tired of it. Wild.
All right. So this came up sort of kind of, we were talking a couple shows ago about some of the old timers and Mount Rushmores and all that, and I figured I'd ask this question. So we got Willie Mays and Ted Williams. So who would be more successful if you picked them up and dropped them into today's game?
Yo, this one's hard for me.
I know. That's why I picked these two guys.
Willie Mays or Ted Williams? Are you joking?
Who would be more successful in today's game?
Yikes. It's so hard, right? Because Willie Mays, I'm just going to think out loud here.
Yeah.
Willie Mays, 5-tool player, right? So he defensively, speed, arm, like that's going to play.
Yep.
Right.
Always.
Oh, right. Always. So it doesn't matter. Can we call it a tie? I'm like,
nope.
Listen,
no ties.
I mean, he's a good enough hitter where I think he would adjust. Yeah, I think he could. Ted Williams, for me, this is where I'm standing with him in my head. He was so far above and beyond the science of hitting at his time that he would find a way to find out how to hit today's pitching. So like I'm really torn between the two because Ted Williams knew hitting inside and out, and it wasn't even physically, he knew it mentally. Right? He knew the zone, he knew what pitchers were throwing what and what count. Like I am, oh God, I can't make a decision. I really can't.
So so I had some time to think about it because I knew the question was coming. So here's how I think about it. Willie Mays on the base pass and the defensive side of the ball, his game would play all day. Willie's batting approach, he had kind of happy feet and hands that were all over the place, and typical of that era. I think he'd have a hell of a time catching up to a 98-mile-per-hour fastball on the regular. Could he do it? Sure. Would he adjust over time? Sure. Like I'm sure Willie would be okay. I think Ted Williams was so far ahead of the game when it came to the mechanics of the swing, the approach to the swing. I think that Ted Williams would be able to jump in and hit today's pitching a lot faster than Willie could. Now, Ted didn't have the other tools, so he doesn't have a lot to offer you there. Could he go play the outfield and be serviceable? Sure. I'm sure he probably could. Not a game changer. But I think that Ted, because of his fundamental and technical abilities would adapt faster at the plate than Willie and probably be a better hitter overall than Willie. I do think Willie would catch up. I just think he would have a tougher time being a consistent hitter in today's game.
So that's where I'm like, where do you define successful? Do you define successful as a successful hitter or a successful all around player? Because now you're talking Williams is in this little box, if you will, right? And Mays has the defense. He's got the arm. He's got the speed. So like, does that play? And eventually he gets to the hitting versus Williams just the hitting.
In today's game, no. Willie doesn't. I mean, Willie's defense would be highly undervalued in today's game. I mean, we've talked about it over and over again. Like, guys will take a hitter over a glove any day. Willie would have to hit to be considered successful in today's game.
Yeah, God, man, this is a tough one.
It's brutal. That's why I asked it. This is making my brain hurt. I mean, yeah, it does. This is a tough one. I don't think there's a wrong answer to this one, for the record. I think either guy could be very successful, but they were in terms of the offensive side of the ball, they had very different approaches that I think would create very different outcomes today.
Yeah, I mean, I know who you're going to take, so I'll take Mace. I'll take the 5 tools. I'll take the 3 that I know he's going to have, which is the defense, the arm, and the speed, and hope the bat and the power catch up. So I'm going to take Mace.
Yeah, and I think that's a perfectly acceptable answer, and I'm going to take Ted because his fundamentally at the plate, he was one of the greatest of all time. And his approach and technique would allow him to catch up to today's pitching a lot easier than most guys of their eras. I mean, they're not even really in the same era necessarily, but I think that Ted was decades ahead of his time in terms of the approach at the plate.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah. That's a tough one. I really don't.
This one could be razor thin.
Mm-hmm. Carl says, I think overall Willie probably has a 6 WAR and Ted has a 5.9. It's that close. Yeah. Yeah, Willie's speed and fielding pulls it out on an edge. And that's where I'm kind of going with it in my brain is he's got the other tools. But I mean, Williams was such a superior hitter that like, does that overcome the other 3 tools that Mays has while he's trying to catch up with the pitching? Like maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I think Willie can be a little bit less of a hitter and let the other tools, kind of buoy him back up. Ted's got to be a hitter because his other tools are just okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that Ted would be a hitter. I think that Ted would have success at the plate.
Yeah. Well, he would change the landscape of baseball the way he hit now. So
yes, very true.
And the approach would change. So yeah, man, that was a good one. That was tough.
Yeah. Not an easy one. So, all right, last question tonight. So we all know that Shohei he's even said it, that he would love to add a Cy Young award to his collection. So my question is, if you take Shohei Ohtani and you add a Cy Young award to his collection this year, does that automatically like bang the gavel? Is he now the GOAT? Does that make Shohei Ohtani the clear-cut greatest player of all time?
No, Justin Verlander won an MVP and a Cy Young in the same year, so no. Does he make him? Oh man! So this is the difference, right? Shohei hits.
Yep.
If he wins an MVP, it's going to be for his hitting, and if he's good enough to win the Cy Young award, like obviously that adds to the MVP resume. If he does that in the same season, and I'm talking 35, 100, and then wins a Cy Young award, I mean, yeah, right?
That's what I'm asking. Like,
Yeah,
is that the one missing piece that takes the argument of greatest of all time away and just gives it to him?
I mean, I don't know about the greatest piece. Like, I think he's. I don't know. I think he's still considered possibly the GOAT after his career, even if he doesn't win a Cy Young Award. But you add that Cy Young Award to that argument. The same year he wins his 5th MVP in a row, we might be talking GOAT status at that point.
That's that's one thing Babe Ruth didn't get was the Cy Young because it wasn't a thing.
Yeah, right.
And and Babe was a good pitcher. I mean, he wasn't necessarily like, I mean, I don't want to say like not an elite pitcher. At the time, he was considered like one of the best pitchers in the game, but it wasn't like he put up like absurd stats. He did have 3 or 4 seasons of pretty stupid numbers, but there was no best pitcher award to be given. It's like Babe doesn't have one. Would he have won one? Probably. Babe probably would have had a Cy Young in there if it was such a thing. But in my mind, like, and I'm one of the guys who's held off on the Shohei Ohtani train for the longest time because I think the pitching is cool, but I don't think the pitching is impactful. Like, he hasn't pitched enough for it to matter to me. But if this guy goes out and wins a Cy Young Award, showing that he was really just that good a pitcher, and he's also that good a hitter, I mean, I'm one of the people that would probably have to sit down and shut up on the whole, like, Shohei is not the greatest of all time argument. Because, like, I got nothing left to stand on. I got no arguments left. I got nothing left. 50-50 season, all the MVPs, the home runs. Yeah, his playoff stats are pretty mediocre, but it doesn't matter. They've won anyways. The last thing you can say is, like, he hasn't been a meaningful pitcher. If he goes and wins a Cy Young Award, that argument's gone. And he's now a meaningful pitcher.
Yeah.
So I look at it as, at least from my perspective, if he goes out and wins a Cy Young Award this year, I've got no arguments to make. I have to give it to him. Like, he will be, at that point, to me, he will be the greatest player of all time in terms of his ability to do literally everything on a baseball field.
Yeah. I mean, Carl says I would say it would give him the GOAT season, not necessarily career. He might already have the GOAT season with the 50-50. So that's what we're saying. Like, if he gets the Cy Young, does that make him the GOAT? I mean, Curtis says if he does that, yeah, I don't see it happening though. And he said Babe was dueling with Cy Young at the time. So obviously, yeah. I mean, I just hate the fact, like, we say it all the time, like, I get why this guy is thrown in our face. He's the best we've seen in our lifetime. Heck, maybe even in 100 years, right? His ability to do both are elite, right? Like, even his pitching is above average, right? I would agree, maybe not as impactful as he would want or we would want, just because he's had the Tommy John issues, right?
Right.
So, like, I get it. Does he have that ability? Yeah, we've seen him throw one-hit shutouts. We've seen him throw a lot of teams, a lot of chairs. So, I mean, yeah, this makes him the GOAT, I think, in my eyes. If he is able to bring in a Cy Young Award, it's icing on the cake at this point. I think he's already almost there because he's doing it at the same time here. Finally at full strength, right? I think, yeah, I think that award does it.
Yeah, because, like, if he goes out and wins a Cy Young, there literally is nothing left for him to do. MVP, Cy Young, Rookie of the Year, World Series rings, 50-50 season. Like, what the hell's left? Other than just pile up more stats at the end of your career. But, like, in terms of the individual accolades, like, that happen on the field, there ain't nothing left.
No.
The guy will have literally checked every box in his career. and nobody else has done that. I mean, it's kind of it would, and again, as somebody who's not a huge Shohei Ohtani, ball washer, I would have to stop arguing that he's not the greatest of all time because I would have nothing. I'd have nothing to stand on.
No, not at all. Yeah, and if he throws a no-hitter, that's big boy status. Maybe that's what he needs.
Yeah.
He needs that'd be the one thing left, no-hitter. But yeah, I think he's almost borderline there now with what he's brought to the game. I mean, hell, he's brought an entire country to the MLB, right? He's won the rings. He's got the 50-50 season. He's got 4 straight MVPs. What are we even talking about here? He is already almost there. And you throw this hardware on his shelf, I think the argument's over.
Yeah, I just think it'd be really hard to argue that he's not.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you don't think he is, it's hard to argue that he's not. Like, you can't prove the counterpoint.
Right. The only argument that people would say is like, oh, well, Barry Bonds is the best hitter, or Pedro or Walter Johnson's the best pitcher. Okay, that's great, but neither one of them did the other thing that he's doing both, right? So like,
yep,
he's not going to be the best hitter. He's not going to be the best pitcher, but to be able to do both at the level that he is something we won't see for a while.
Yep, for
sure. Yeah, exactly. Shohei's a unicorn, no doubt. He's what would happen if Joe Montana also led the league in sacks. 1,000%.
Yep.
It's exactly what he is. That's a great comparison, Carl. Yep. Yeah, he can retire and possibly be in the argument of GOAT.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I agree.
He will be the first player in baseball history to accomplish all of those things. He will be one of one across baseball.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a no doubt. Crazy.
Yeah, the more I thought of it, the more I thought, holy crap, like, if this happens, like, he literally will be one of one.
Yeah. Crazy.
And ain't nobody catching him anytime soon.
No. And like I said, we've had, pitchers obviously win MVPs and Cy Youngs in the same year, Kershaw, Verlander, right? Like that itself isn't the unicorn, but it's how he's doing it, right? He's at the plate earning his MVP. And then you throw a Cy Young in that same year, would be that silly. It would be silly.
Yep.
But as long as he's in the NL or Skeens is in the NL, I don't think it's happening.
It's going to be hard as hell, man. Like,
yeah.
And then he's got a teammate who's also pretty good.
A couple of
that
them
might have something to say about that. So yeah. I think that the Cy Young Award is going to be a hell of a tall task for him, but that would be the only thing he's got left to prove.
Yeah, I agree. Wow. Yeah, he's only 31. It's his 9th season. He still needs a little more on the resume. So you're thinking like longevity, just, piling those stats up. Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yep.
He'll get there. But all right, Harrison, who is that guy is back.
All right, we got some who is that guys, and I will apologize now. I got a lot of 80s and 90s guys in here. I went back a little bit to off of some trivia questions and some really kind of cool facts that I picked this group. They're all gettable. I just think there's going to be several where you're like, I don't remember who the hell that is until you hear their name.
All right, great.
But I think that our 80s, 90s crew and our baseball history fans are going to love this one because these are some deeper pulls. Guys that were relevant, did important things. Just different makeup than usual.
All right. Well, let's get at it.
All right. So let's start it off. So played for 14 seasons between 1991 and 2004. Played for the Dodgers, Cubs, and Athletics. NL Rookie of the Year and a one-time Silver Slugger. Best known for being the first Dodgers player in history to hit 2 home runs in the same inning. Who is that guy?
Oh yeah. Start me off easy. Love it.
Starting you off easy. Gotta
Wow.
give you an easy one to start.
Okay, good. Yep, Carl's got it. Eric Karros,
You still love watching him hit.
Yep.
Yep.
Good one.
That is Eric Karros, average of 268, 284 home runs, 1,027 RBIs, 325 OBP, and a 10.4 WAR, which I was surprised was as low as it was for what he did. But Karros was a solid guy and the guy I like to watch hit.
Yeah, it's a good one.
All right, next up. Played for 13 seasons between 1986 and 1998. Played for the Yankees, Cubs, Cardinals, Rangers, Padres, and Twins. A one-time All-Star. Best known for having the lowest walks per 9 rate in the modern era. Who is that guy? Pretty sure this is the guy you're going to get, Nick.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Oh, good. Whew. And Carl backed me up. That's good. Yeah, it's Bob Tewksbury.
That is Bob Tewksbury. Career record of 110 and 102, 1,807 innings pitched, a 3.92 career ERA, 812 strikeouts, and a 20.8 WAR. The dude walked like nobody for long stretches of time, and he'd have the lowest K rate or walk per 9 of all time, if not for those guys like the 1900s that had like zeros because there were no walks.
Right. Yeah, that's crazy. Yep. Good. Curtis got him as well.
Yep. All right. Played for 12 seasons between 1985 and 1996. Played for the Red Sox. 2-time All-Star, 1-time Silver Slugger. Best known for finishing second in MVP voting in 1988 and being one of the best hitters in the AL during that stretch. Who is that guy?
Oh, R.I.P. in peace.
I had to. He's been on the list for a little while. I'm like, I got to throw him in at some point.
Yeah, R.I.P. in peace.
Yep. I loved watching him hit. He just abused that poor monster.
Yep, and play it well.
Yes. Yeah, one of the few lefties that actually learned how to hit well at Fenway Park.
Yep.
There weren't a lot of them that could exploit that.
Yeah, you guys got this right away. Nice job, Mike Greenwell, for sure. Nice job, Carl and Scott. Yep, R.I.P. Good.
All right. Now we're going to step a little bit further back here, Nick. So let the fun begin.
All right, here we go.
All right. So played for 13 seasons between 1975 and 1987. Played for the Indians and Brewers. One-time Gold Glove winner. Best known for catching the final out of Len Barker's perfect game and becoming one of the longest tenured broadcasters in Cleveland. Who is that guy?
Yeah, this is my weak zone right here, but I should know the broadcaster. I don't got this one. No clue. That's like literally my weak spot right there. 75, 82. I got nothing in the brain for that time period.
Yeah, if not for the broadcasting, I'd have nothing here.
As
And even the
soon as I hear them,
broadcasting, it took a minute.
I at the wrong age for this one. Yeah, our Facebook feed never came back.
Yeah, no, it's
Get
gone.
it.
It's trying, but it's not reconnecting.
Is it Ron Hassey?
No, good guess. Not Ron Hassey.
My hope is it got all of his interview on it and didn't cut it off before.
I believe it did. Yeah,
All right.
I believe he made it all the way through.
Yeah, I don't got this one, Harrison.
All right, it's not often that I have everybody stumped.
I should know this, and I don't.
All right, let's flip it, Nick.
Ah,
This is Rick Manning. Career average of 257, 56 home runs, 458 RBIs, 317 OBP, 11.8 WAR.
so he was better than Eric Karros, is what you were saying.
Yeah, believe it or not, strangely enough, he was somehow better than Eric Carr. Although it's because defensively he was very, very good. Offensively, he was okay. More of a contact guy. 317 OBP with a 257 average is a pretty good spread. That's a guy
Yeah.
who took some walks.
Yep. Dang, good one.
But yeah, so that is Rick Manning. All right, next one. Played for 15 seasons between 1977 and 1991. Played for the Astros and the Royals. He was a one-time All-Star. Best known for holding the highest career fielding percentage in Astros history, including a perfect season in 1979. Who is that guy?
That's not who I was expecting to see come up.
Who are you expecting?
Not him.
He can't be a Manning. His forehead is too small.
Oh,
Different Manning family. But you're
that's
right, Greg. You're
that's
totally right.
hilarious. What were the two teams? Astros and who?
Astros and Royals. Really, it was
Oh,
almost
it's
all Astros. Royals were very small.
It's Terry Poole.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Terry Poole. Average of 280, 62 home runs, 435 RBIs, 349 OBP, and a 28.3 WAR.
Nice.
That is Terry Poole.
Yep, nice one, Scott and Carl. Nice work.
Yeah, nice job, guys. All right, Nick, you should get this one. Played for 15 seasons between 1982 and 1996. Played for the Twins, Mets, Red Sox, Blue Jays, and Reds. One-time Cy Young winner, three-time All-Star, and World Series MVP. Best known for dominating the 1987 World Series and carrying that into his 1988 MVP season where he won 24 games. Who is that guy?
Oh yeah, I definitely had it after the teams. Sweet music.
Yep. I was pretty sure this one would jump out at folks. That's why I mixed them into the middle to give a bit of a break.
Okay, good. Yep. Yeah, this one's a layup for sure.
Yep.
Yep. Frank, Sweet Music Viola, 1000%.
I still remember him breaking his arm towards the end of his career. Was he with the Red Sox when he did it? Threw the pitch and just snapped his arm, and that was about it.
Oh, there was a couple guys that did it in that time period too.
Yeah, Tony Saunders did it with the Rays, and
that one was gross. Dave Trevecki when he was battling cancer with the Giants. That one
was awful. Yep. Anyways, so Frank Viola, career record of 176 and 150, 2,836 and a third innings pitched, 373 ERA, 1,844 strikeouts, and a 47 WAR. But yeah, Frank Viola was a wagon in his time.
That he was crazy.
All right. Played for 17 seasons between 1973 and 1989. Played for the Astros, Cubs, and Phillies. He was a World Series champion. Best known for being fifth all-time in MLB history and first all-time in Phillies history for career pinch hits. Who is that guy?
Oh, thought I knew this one and I don't.
Who'd you think it was?
It was the pinch hits. I thought it was Lenny Harris, but it's not.
Oh.
It's definitely not him.
No.
Those glasses, though, are incredible.
I know, aren't they? You could do your taxes in the off season.
Again, this time period, you kill me with this time period. I got nothing in the tank.
Guy who was pretty well known in that era as really a kind of a pinch hit specialist. Oh, Pete Vukovich, great guess, not him. That's a really good guess, though.
This is before my time. So I got nothing. I mean, 91 though, right? Played till 91.
89.
89. Same
But
thing.
still, I mean, so like, we saw the
I was-
tail end of his
I
career,
was
maybe.
5. Greg Gross is a guess.
Carl's got it.
Greg Gross.
That
Never
is
in a
Greg
million
Gross.
years would have grabbed that.
Yeah, that is Greg Gross. Career average of 287, 7 home runs, 308 RBIs, 372 OBP. That's a massive OBP for 287 average
Yep.
and a 12.5 WAR. Guy who played some outfield, but also did a lot of pinch hitting and was very good at it.
Yep.
Kind of a lost art.
I am not a Phillies fan, but these are one of the best uniforms ever. These baby
Oh, I
blues
love
and
them.
orange stripes down. Yeah.
Love the baby
Absolutely.
blues.
So
They are
good.
classics.
Yep.
All right, next up. Played for 16 seasons between 1970 and 1986. Played for the Astros and the Angels. 2-time All-Star. Best known for throwing a no-hitter in 1979. He and his brother are the only brothers in MLB history to both throw a no-hitter. Who is that guy?
Oh, shit. I know this one too. Oh, damn it.
Yeah, the trivia question is what really got my attention with him.
This one's gonna kill me.
Yep. And that's actually his brother with him.
40. This isn't Scott, is it?
It's not a Scott, no.
It's not Mike Scott.
Oh no.
One of the Forsch brothers.
Do you know which one, Scott?
Ken Forsch.
Yes, it is.
Wow. Nice.
That is Ken Forsch. Record of 114 and 113, 2,127 in the third innings pitched, 337 ERA, 1,047 strikeouts, and a 26 WAR. Nice job, Scott.
Yep.
That
Nice.
is Ken Forsch.
Dang.
Yeah. So he and his brother are the only pair of brothers in baseball history to both have thrown no hitters.
That's pretty damn cool.
It is a pretty cool stat. So,
Yeah.
all right. Played for 16 seasons between 1972 and 1987. Played for the Giants, Braves, Phillies, Cubs, and Mariners. 1973 Rookie of the Year, a one-time All-Star, and an NLCS MVP. Best known for his playoff success, where he hit 323 with 7 home runs and 15 RBIs in 19 games, and a son that also played in MLB. Who is that guy?
You're killing me.
His son may have made one of the greatest catches we've ever seen.
Denzel Clark.
No, this guy climbed the wall, spun, like pirouetted in the air.
I was gonna guess him, and I said no because I thought it was too. Damn it! I should have stuck with my guns. It is Gary Matthews.
It is Gary Matthews.
I had that in my head, and I go, no, it's too early for him.
Yep. Nope. Gary goes back
Dang.
farther than we remember. Although, you have to remember, Gary Matthews Jr. is also our age. So, yeah, Dad's prime would have been back in the 60s and 70s.
Dang, I had that, and I was like, no, the time frame's wrong. But
Yeah.
God dang.
Yeah, no, this is Gary Matthews. Career average of 281, 234 home runs, 978 RBIs, 364 OBP, and a 30.4 WAR. And then we obviously know his son, Gary Matthews Jr., who had flashes of brilliance in his time in MLB.
I still have no idea how he physically caught that baseball.
Not a clue.
I've watched that clip over and over and over again. I go, A, he wasn't even looking at it. B, he spins the wrong way up the wall and somehow catches it. That one still blows my mind.
Yeah, it's one of the greatest catches I've ever seen. And I don't think Gary Matthews Jr. has seen it either.
No, it's wild. Man, I'm really mad at myself right there.
All right, so this next one is just strictly for nostalgia purposes. Let me at least read it, Nick.
Okay.
Played for 10 seasons between 1975 and 1984. Played for the Angels and Red Sox. One-time All-Star, four-time Emmy winner. Best known for being elected president of Red Sox Nation in 2007 and his infamous call of "Here comes the pizza." Who is that guy?
Oh, R.I.P.
It's season kicks off. I always think of him.
Yeah,
Always.
absolutely.
And then what really got me thinking about him was the fact that you had the Padres in town.
Right.
And so you were hearing Donnie O back at Fenway, and I'm like, man, it made it worse.
Yeah. Yeah, I watched the Red Sox game with the Padres sound on just for nostalgia purposes.
Yeah,
But-
I miss Don Orsillo. I miss this guy. It's
Oh my God.
We were so spoiled.
Guys
for
just
that-
sitting
all that
there.
run.
Guys just sitting there trying to catch the foul ball, and oh, here comes the pizza.
That clip makes me laugh every time I see it. And then just listen to the two of them just start like to the point they have to go silent because they got to mute their mics because they're laughing so hard.
The other one too is when they're coming back from commercial, and Donnie O's in the middle of reading a promotion, and the boyfriend reaches over and cups his girlfriend's boob, and they just lost it. And then Orsillo was like, the 1-1 to Markakis, he couldn't even like get it out. And oh my God, I miss them. They were so much fun. But
There were so many games like when they first started work together. The Red Sox weren't good, and like there were so many games they got you through. Like you would watch solely to keep listening to them.
yeah.
But
Yeah, it's still funny, 1,000%. Like when that clip comes across, I watch it all the way through. Like the one, the Nick Markakis one, just like he just can't get it out. And man, it was so
Nope.
funny. It was so good.
and like
Man.
it'd be like a couple pitches before a voice would come back because you can just picture, you can see the two of them just howling in that box,
Yeah, yeah. You can hear,
unable to get back to the microphone.
you can still hear the giggling too, like the
Oh.
like. Oh my God, so good.
Classic.
Oh,
So, anyways, yeah, this is Jerry Remy. Career average of 275, 7 home runs, 329 RBIs, a 327 OBP, and 14.6 WAR. A guy that meant more to the Red Sox organization than could be put into words, both as a player, but more so as a broadcaster.
yeah,
And what he, so much of Red Sox Nation, was brought into Red Sox Nation listening to him.
yeah. Buenas noches, amigos.
Yeah.
That was another one.
Yep.
So good. Love those, Harrison. I hate the 70s and 80s ones because I wasn't even a twinkle in my dad's eye in those ones. But yeah, I get it. Man,
Carl better than Eric Karros. I mean, he did have a better WAR number than Karros.
crazy. But,
Just shows you how kind of a crazy stat WAR is because it does benchmarks you against your peer group, and if your peer group's really good, well, you kind of get hosed.
yeah, it's wild. All right. Do you have anything else to add, chat? Do you have anything else to add from this past week of baseball or any news going forward?
Not really anything else to add news wise. I mean, the Red Sox suck. That's
That's
been frustrating.
Brutal.
Like they can't do anything.
God, man.
I mean, I still think they're going to be fine, but my God, this is one of the worst, one of the more painful starts of the season in a while.
What are they? 2-6? 2-7?
2-7 with a loss today, right?
Yeah. Jeez, man. Yeah, Scott loves the not so way back questions. Yeah, my wheelhouse is 90s and to current. Most 80s guys I can get. 70s I am there's no pathways up here for 70s baseball for whatever reason. It's just a part of the game I never really studied, and being born in the mid 80s, like I just never appreciated the 70s baseball part of that history. But yeah.
Yeah.
Greg says, but at least we haven't dropped the series to the Rockies or White Sox less than 10 games into the season. Yeah, well, I mean, it's happening. It's going to happen.
Yeah, but I mean, the White Sox just swept the Blue Jays, and
Yeah.
pretty convincingly.
Yeah. He goes, how crappy would a team have to be to have that happen?
I mean, it was pretty decisive. The White Sox took them to the cleaners.
Yeah. Murakami is a beast, by the way.
Yeah, I still think I still think there's gonna be a lot of swing and miss in his game, and they're gonna find the holes. But man, right now he is on everything.
He is torching it. Cubs are frustrating as hell to start the year. Cade Horton, I fear, is headed for Tommy John. Yeah, I saw that one too, Carl.
Oh, I didn't. See that. Did he get hurt today?
Elbow. It was a few days ago.
Oh,
I think scratch from his start.
oh, okay. I thought that was just like a precautionary thing, but he's actually hurt.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
not good.
Yeah, Scott. Everybody that says like they loved the 70s for baseball. I just, obviously like my age, I never really got to fully appreciate what baseball was in the 70s. I just didn't see it. But everybody that I talk to say that like that's one of their favorite decades of baseball for sure.
Yep.
So I love that. Yeah, Trout contusion, back of the hand. He'll be out 160 games.
Yeah, so of course the guy looks good and he gets hit by a pitch and leaves the game. It's like, oh my god, you can't catch a break here.
Yep.
Oh, forearm tightness. That's
tightness.
Never good. That always ends up being like a UCL or something. Always.
Yeah, absolutely wild.
It's code for it's bad, but we don't want to admit it yet.
Yep, exactly.
We're not ready to admit it.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I think that is gonna do it for this evening. Thanks again, Mark Rogers. That was absolutely incredible to kind of go down memory lane with him and relive his career. Pretty stinking cool. I mean, I know he probably wanted to be in the majors longer than he was, but he got there, and to be gracious and to be thankful for that opportunity is pretty cool to see and hear. I was absolutely blown away by that. So appreciate you sharing our story or your story with us and our audience. It was amazing. So thank you so much, Mark. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, amazing.
So, all right. Well, that will do it for us. I may or may not be on Thursday. I'm traveling to Boston Thursday day. So I haven't told you yet, Harrison, but here's me telling you. So I am bringing everything, but trying to be on location. I won't be at Fenway. I'm up in Boston for another reason, but trying to be up there on the show for Thursday. If not, Harrison might be going solo, but we'll see.
Got to keep me company.
Yeah, exactly. So either way, always thanks to you guys in the chat for spending your time with us. We know that we're an investment of time. It's 2.5 hour show. And you guys come back week after week, and there's not enough thanks in the world for that. So really, really appreciate it. And we will see you Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I hope all your teams do well. And with me saying that, the Red Sox will lose another 3 straight. So on that note, we'll see you Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
See ya.